Quench is absolutely fantastic. In fact, I'm looking for more adjectives to describe you this morning. And you are looking so sweet.
Thank you. You look dapper, authentic. Just say, you're authentic.
Of course, you know that the authentic man would always, make sure that I'm looking good this morning.
Authentically authenticated.
Yes, authentically authenticated. Good morning to the authentic man. Authentic man is making me look good this morning. So if you see my suit and you like it, it's kind courtesy the authentic man. So good morning to the authentic man. You can call him. You can call him and he will sort you out with a very nice suit so that you can also look as good as I'm looking on this beautiful Monday morning. So let me tell you how to get in contact with the authentic man. Yes, you can call him on 0243 029494 0243-029494. But my name is Lantam, Papanko, as you may well know by now, and my TV Better Half is excited all of you, and the excitement is infecting me as well, and so I'm pumped up, I'm hyped up, I'm geared up for this beautiful, nice Monday morning. It's a fantastic one, and we've got a lot coming up for you on the show today, but of course, we always love to begin with our quote of the day. So let's go straight there and see what we've got for you this Monday morning for our quote.
Our quote of the day is by Nick Frederickson. He says, I close my eyes to old ends and open my heart to new beginnings. You see what I talked about resetting your minds?
Yeah.
Reset your minds to beautiful new beginnings.
Everything is reset.
What I say, we are resetting everything. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of how you felt last night, it doesn't matter. They say the darkest moment of the day is just before sunrise. So let it go, start a new beginning, and you never know. That is where your star will shine.
Close your eyes to the old ends.
Yes.
And open your eyes to the new beginnings. Yeah. It's a good way to, start the year, right? Exactly. And how to think ahead as the year 2025 is unfolding, right? You mentioned that 2025 has been running. Yeah. It's been running as if someone is chasing it. Before you close your eyes and open it again, we'll be in June. Before you close your eyes and open it again, we'll be in December.
Before you realize,
2026 has come.
2028. And then we are still resetting or we are going back to upgrade.
So what's done is done. What's in the past is in the past,
Absolutely.
Right? Don't dwell on it too much. The only thing that you should take from the past are the lessons that you learned from the experiences that you had. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. The only thing that you should dwell on in the past is the experience, right?
Sure.
The experiences that you had and the lessons that you learned from those experiences.
I agree.
Those are the only things that you should hold on to. Right. All the other things, leave it, look ahead, forge ahead, and make sure that you are focused on what is ahead of you. And that's the import of our quote of the day this morning. Let's zoom in straight into improving our vocabulary.
Absolutely, with our word of the day.
Yeah.
Today's word of the day is vivacious, vivacious. It's an adjective. Now, it means especially of a woman having a lively, attractive personality. An example is that vivacious presenter on GH Today is called Lily Mohammed. Vivacious.
You are vivacious. That vivacious presenter. That. In fact, I was coming to add more Ecobias, but you see, that vivacious presenter on GHOne TV is called the ever gorgeous, eloquent, smart, intelligent, adorable, beautiful, vivacious Lily Mohammed.
Oh,
because you deserve it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's why I love you, you know.
You know I love you too, baby.
Yes, baby. All right. So that's our word of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Vivacious. It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good word.
Yeah. Let everything you do be vivacious, okay?
But over the weekend, I mean, from Friday through till last night, a lot of things happened in this country. The Black Stars have new chairperson and vice chair of their management committee. Their vice chair is former Black Stars captain Stephen Tornado Appiah. A lot of you know him. A lot of you watched him on the field of play. A lot of us enjoyed his playing time, and I mean, we enjoyed his leadership.
Yeah.
At the Black Stars, and so it's good to know that he's on. I mean, a lot of people had been clamoring for him to be on the Black Stars.
I mean, he's arguably one of the better team captains that we have had.
True.
You know, when he was team captain, we all know the successes of the Black Stars team and how the football was so nice to look at. You know, how there was this unity within the team and how everybody seemed to understand each other and have, you know, a common purpose and a common goal. I mean, we all saw the exploits of the Black Stars at the 2006 World Cup. You know, and how well they played, you know, the subsequent African Cups, even though we're not able to win. But, you know, you notice that during his tenure as captain of the Black Stars, there was this, this drive, this hunger, this, you know, unity within the Black Stars camp, you know, unlike some other captains that we've seen, which, you know, you see factions here, factions there, you know, and all of that. And, you know, and he was a great player as well.
I agree.
You know, he was a great player. You know, I remember after one of the Black Stars games, he was being interviewed and he was holding a number of phones and he was like, you know, they keep on coming, they keep on coming. You know? He said, how many messages I have to tell one of the phones off? They keep on coming. They keep on. It's telling you that there's a lot of excitement after that win that the Black Stars had. And there were so many messages and so many calls coming on the phones that he said he has to turn one of the phones off because, you know, the messages are coming in droves because there is a lot of excitement, you know, in the country. And so, Stephen Appiah, we're happy that he is there. We're happy that he's going to the Black Stars. Dr. Randy Abbey is also one of the individuals who is going to the Black Stars as well. Dr. Randy Abbey is chairman of the Black Stars Management Committee. We all know that he has ties to the Black Stars.
True. He's an ESCO member.
Yes, he's not someone who is new to the GFA, Black Stars and the GFA. And so we're hoping...
And he manages a team. I mean, not manager, but he's the owner of a club, of a local club, Hearts of Lions, you know. So he's when it comes to football, I mean, he even started.
He's a football person.
He's a football person. He started as a sports, I mean, reporter. So he's well vexed when it comes to sporting disciplines, not just soccer, but the various sporting disciplines. He knows his onions. So we're expecting some level of change. I mean, we all are tired of the Black Stars. We want renewed energy.
Now we want to qualify to the World Cup. You know, since we didn't qualify for Africa Cup of Nations, we need to qualify for the World Cup and then go and show that we know what we are about and go and at least give a good showing, you know, at the World Cup, because we have good players, right? We have good players. We do. But it looks like the management... Look at the exploits across the world. Yeah, because you look at the various players in their individual clubs, the likes of Antoine Semenyo at Bournemouth, who is playing. I mean, this weekend, you know, he had an assist, right? He had an assist in the 4-1, you know, thriller that they played against Newcastle, right? In the very first goal, which was scored in the 6th minute, Antoine Semenyo gave an assist to Patrick Kluivert's son. What's his name? Kluivert, right? He's also Kluivert, you know, to score that goal. So it tells you the exploits of the Black Stars, right? Very recently, even Andre Ayew has been scoring some goals. You know, the likes of Inaki Williams, you know, Joseph Pinsel at LA Galaxy, and, you know, all of those other players. You look at their performances at their clubs, they are doing well. But for some reason, when they come together at the Black Stars, there's a problem. So team management is an issue. Chemistry is an issue, so we need to deal with that. We need to get it together and then qualify for the World Cup. I know there are those who don't want us to qualify for the World Cup, so we'll reset. But
some people too, they are willing, praying, hoping that the Black Stars will qualify
of where we are doing the World Cup.
Because of where they are going. And then they can't
if the Black Stars qualify, then you are part of the support. I know some people are saying that when you let me keep quiet, they will start chuking.
I know.
They will start chuking, so it's okay.
That's why I said that one there, back door.
The embassies are watching, so it's
I know,
okay.
right? Talking about committees, President Mahama has set up an 8-member constitutional review committee, which is chaired by Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. It also has Justice Sophia Adinyira there, Professor Kwame Karikari there, Charlotte Osei, who is a former chairperson of the Electoral Commission. There's Dr. Godwin Jokoto, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, Dr. Esi Ansa, and Reina Akumperegeya. So that's they're going to review the constitution, the challenges, the implementation of the previous work that was done on constitutional review. So it's exciting to see HKC Prempeh there.
Yeah, and I think it's a good choice, you know, for him to be at the head, because this is someone who has demonstrated over the years that he cannot be manipulated.
Sure.
If he sees A, he will come and say that it is A, and if he believes that it is A that needs to be done, he will come and say that it is A that needs to be done, regardless of whatever you think. And so the president putting him there, you know, sends a certain signal that, okay, we want proper work to be done.
But this is not about party
This is
stuff.
not about party stuff or certain preferences that we need to, you know, get into the constitution or out of the constitution. We want a very holistic one. And a lot of work has been done with regard to constitutional review, you know, over the years, but we seemingly never are able to implement it, and the government will always issue some white paper and reject whatever. But we believe that this time around the case will be different, because this is one of the promises that the NDC made, that they will make sure that there is proper constitutional review and the implementations are made. People have been worried, especially about certain appointments that are made which are overly political and not based on meritocracy, right? They want the constitution to be done in such a way that, you know, there is meritocracy when it comes to the appointment, for example, of an EC chairperson, when it comes to the appointment, even of a CEO of a state-owned enterprise. A lot of them have been appointed recently, right? New ones are coming. Right, so perhaps instead of the president appointing them, there's a certain system that they have to go through, CVs, you know,
and people will also want to see a lot of powers, for want of a better expression, taking away from the president. You know, we want the constitution to reign supreme, not the executive reigning supreme, because very often that is what we see in this country. So it will be interesting to see the insights that this committee will bring to the review of the constitution. And then people have talked about the fact that the numbers are minimal, but if you look at what has been done in the past, I mean, they will have to piece together a lot of the work that has been done.
Because a lot of constitutional review work has already been done in the past. So let's look at all that has been done. Let's, you know, fine tune it. Let's tweak it. Let's sift through and let's hear who has got to say what, and then come up with the best way moving forward. And that is what this committee has been tasked to do. They've been given 6 months, or is it 5 months or 6 months to do the work that they are supposed to do. So we'll see how their work is done. But today also the appointments committee will be sitting once more. So when it's 9 o'clock, we'll take you to Parliament and
3 people. Governs Kwame Agboja. That's
I'm looking forward to that one.
I know,
because he is on the appointments committee,
and he's the whip. So I'm wondering who is going to whip him in line.
you know, he was on the appointments committee the last time, and towards the end of the appointments committee sitting, when they were vetting Dominic Kaine, he had, you know, a little bit of a banter with the chairman, and he had an issue with Alexander Kwamna Afenyomakin, and you know how he felt Afenyomakin was being disruptive, and he had to, you know, voice out his displeasure.
Afenyomakin was at some point usurping the authority of the chairman, and even taking on the vice chair when he's a ranking. You know, because there is a vice chair, Emmanuel Kofi. So today governs Kwame Agboja for the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Haruna Idrisu for Ministry of Education, and Eric Opoku for Ministry of Agriculture.
It will be interesting to see exactly how the appointments committee is going to do their work today, with the benefit of hindsight, right? Because we saw what went down with the very first 3 appointments, right? And you know, the questions that were being asked, the supposed or alleged shielding of the appointees or the nominees by the chairman and not allowing questions and all of that. I think a lot of reviews will go the way of the chairman of the committee and the ranking member Afenyomakin and all of that. So they would revise their notes
I do hope so. You know, usually
I
there are modalities that they all come to an agreement on. But it felt as though in the first one, a lot of the modalities were thrown away. But I hope that they stick to it and not a lot of preambles, because honestly, they are very unnecessary.
Yes,
you know?
sometimes it's just commentary they want to make.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just commentary they want to say something, and then they channel it through a particular question.
You know,
and then they come and ask a question and realize that even the preamble and the question are not really, you know,
they're
related,
not
or doesn't really, it's not really in sync. But anyway, today, when you go to the United States of America, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump,
my man,
Donald J. Trump, is going to be
man.
sworn in as the President of the United States today in Washington, D.C. So we know they do their inauguration on the 20th. And we're told that due to bad weather conditions and potential blizzards or so, the inauguration is not going to be done outdoors like it usually is done. It's going to be done indoors. But today, Donald Trump will be sworn in as President of the United States. He's already nominated his cabinet, and they've already also been going through their own vetting, you know, with the U.S. Congress. And from today, Donald Trump will hit the ground running as President of the United States. You know, I've heard something.
From today, Make America Great Again is back in full swing.
MAGA. Yeah, Make America Great Again. I understand that when he takes over, he's going to embark on a very massive immigration operation.
I mean, he mentioned.
I think he's starting in Chicago.
Yeah. He mentioned that even on the campaign trail, in the last couple of days, he's been talking about it, and it's something that he's very keen on doing. To South America. Brefie.
Pacho.
Brefie.
Because they are coming for you. They are coming for you. So, yeah, Donald Trump will be sworn in today. So that's quite a lot going on.
That's quite a lot. So, and then Obuasi was boiling over the weekend, but that's something that we'll discuss.
We're taking a look at that on Inside Out.
Yeah. Let's now bring you our video of the day.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, a late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it. My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running. To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts. I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the truck and do business with it. It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it,
Call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
We render the Lord for all his goodness, for all. Yes, it's all the doing of the Lord. And we'll say that no matter the situation, always give thanks, always give praise, and always acknowledge the goodness of God and his mercies on you.
Yeah.
And upon your life. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Praise
you very
be
much.
to the Lord.
It's time now for Inside Out.
So on Inside Out this morning, we touch on a rather unfortunate incident that happened in Obuasi on the AngloGold Ashanti concession, where illegal miners besieged one of the concessions, and then there was a shootout between some of the miners, and then military personnel. There, some persons, 8 persons have died. Unfortunately, a number of people have been injured. AngloGold Ashanti has reacted. Even the presidency has reacted. The Ghana Armed Forces has also reacted. That the soldiers on the field at the time were members of Operation Halt, and then due to how the illegal miners besieged the premises, they were asked to move out. They refused. They wanted to take over the concession, and then they had to engage in a shootout. Now, a critical question I ask is, do soldiers immediately start firing guns? I mean, what prompted the firing of guns? Was it so critical they had to release the trigger? Because Lantam, it's unfortunate that we had to lose lives. This is because over the years, what we know is that soldiers are able to contain situations.
Yeah.
But how is it that the people that are supposed to contain situations are the ones pulling the trigger? Look at this, the videos we have on the screen. Quite very, very unfortunate. You see,
very disheartening, and we apologize.
We do apologize.
We apologize for the
graphic
images the graphic nature of the images that we just showed you. But what you just saw on your screen is one of the casualties, so one of the individuals who died, and we see the health personnel busily trying to resuscitate them, and it's not yielding any results. We understand that about 8 miners or 8 illegal miners, or should I say galamseyers, have died as a result of a clash between the military who were there protecting the concession of AngloGold Ashanti and these miners who went there to, I don't know why they went there, whether they want, because according to the statement which was issued by the military, they went in there to try and get deep, into the mine. I don't know whether what they were going for ore or whatever it is that they were going for. I don't know the reason with which they went there, that late in the night, because according to the soldiers, it was around 11 p.m.
Well, why would you mass up in your numbers and go to
what I would say is that
does the concession belong to you?
Yeah, what I'll say is that there are laws in this country. There are laid down rules and regulations and procedures in this country. And if you have any grievances and if you have any issues that you want addressed, there are appropriate channels for you to get those issues addressed, right? If you feel as though the presence of AngloGold Ashanti in Obuasi is not yielding any benefit to you, and you believe that the company needs to do more, there are channels through which you can get your message across and get your message out. You can do peaceful protests, you can send petitions, and you can do all the things that are within the legal remits, right? Within the laws, to make sure that your grievances are addressed, right? You can, if you like, you can do a series of protests and demonstrations. Definitely the media is going to carry this, and the pressure is going to mount on AngloGold Ashanti to do the things that you feel that they should do, right? But you don't engage in an illegal activity and then expect people to applaud you, or you don't engage in an illegal activity even if you feel that you have the right to do so.
Then it makes your case wrong.
It's because there are laws in this country. So if someone comes, right, and God forbid, kill somebody who is very close to me, or my sister or my mother or whatever, I have every justification to also pick up a gun and then go to the person who killed my mother or whoever it is and shoot the person and kill the person because you've killed. I have every justification for that, morally or whatever. But it is against the law. So I cannot take the law into my own hands and go and kill the person. I have to report to the police. The police have to pick up the person. The person has to go through the court's justice delivery system, and the person has to be duly sentenced and justice served. That is how the laws work. So it doesn't matter the justification you have, or you feel that you have, for going into a concession that does not belong to you. It doesn't matter if AngloGold has even abandoned that mining area. It does not matter. You have absolutely no right.
Hold on. Let's engage a security analyst, Adib Sani, who's joined us via phone. Adib, good morning to you. I trust you're doing well.
Good morning, Lily. I'm well.
Good to have you. What are your thoughts? Miners besieging a concession, soldiers pulling the trigger.
Well, I am absolutely worried by the casualty numbers. I think 7, 8.
8, yeah.
With some even mentioning 10 earlier. It's quite distressing. I saw it on even international news. I mean, it was on Al Jazeera since yesterday. And I even had a call from the correspondent. I saw a statement from the military.
Yes.
And the statement basically, justifies the actions of the military because according to them, they were shot at when they tried to stop these individuals who were allegedly armed with guns and machetes and other, instruments. But I'm wondering, as a tactical person who has been trained within this, scheme, what type of aggression would warrant such number of deaths? In every situation, it is up to the military to assess, to know what type of threat that they face. If the threat is lethal, the military has every right to defend themselves. But you see, in such situations, there's what we call the law of proportionality. If the threat is not lethal, I don't think the military should use such lethal force. If that law applies in every gun ownership situation. So, for example, when you are armed and someone chases you with a whip and you shoot the person, that is not proportional. Okay? But if someone, an aggressor, chases you with a knife, a machete, or a gun, and you are armed, you can gun down the person, and it is within your right to do so because that is proportional. So an investigation is what is going to determine whether indeed the military was high-handed or they did what they were supposed to do. Secondly, we need to understand what really would make these individuals decide to breach the security of AngloGold Ashanti and try to, access some parts of the concession. Because the thing is, this is not the first time. I mean, it's beginning to be recurring. And so if we just go in, arrest individuals without dealing with the underlying issues, tomorrow they will do it again. And who knows, more people would die. And it's synonymous with other mining concessions all across the country. I mean, we've had a lot of such clashes, the burning of vehicles, officers, killings, and all that. So we need to...
Adib, with the various happenings, I mean, over the period, does it appear that we have trigger-happy security personnel?
Well, depends on the situation. I don't want to easily jump to describe them as such. I mean, it's some situations like it happened some years back at Gujarat. It was a trigger-happy situation. Okay, but in other situations, I think the security services or agents are justified in the way they handle the situation. But before you pull the trigger, there are some processes also involved, especially de-escalation. In some cases, you would have to de-escalate. I was speaking with someone last night who told me how men came to his office and said they were taking over the facility because a new government was in power. He called their leaders into his office and told them, look, he was also appointed here by an authority. He's not a politician. He's just coming to do his job.
Yeah.
So please, you would appeal to them, plead with them to follow the right processes and that they are all brothers. I'm telling you, that is what relaxed their nerves. They left there and they are still in touch. Hey, my brother, how are you? Hey, they are now friends. But you see, and according to him, the police were there. They attempted arresting them, and he appealed to the police, oh, relax, take it easy. If not, you might escalate the situation. You see? So it depends on how you handle some of these situations. You always have that opportunity to de-escalate. But when you also come in hard, then you create a certain situation where they would also become incensed, and that invariably results into open belligerence. I think that is what we witnessed at Obuasi.
Going forward, how do we manage situations like these so they don't de-escalate?
Okay, so I think if there were proper intelligence in the area, we would have been able to know in advance that this is what is planned and put in place mechanisms to prevent it from happening. For any such incursion to happen, it should have been well thought through. It should have been planned. Meetings should have been held. And the intelligence community should have, as a matter of fact, picked up this intelligence, but we couldn't do it. But what I think going forward we should do is to engage the relevant stakeholders on the ground, the chiefs, opinion leaders, religious leaders, youth groups, etc., to get them to understand that the government is committed to conducting an investigation into the matter, and that no matter what, justice will be served. Okay. Beyond that, we need to sit and talk and talk really hard. What is it? What are the issues? Because we wouldn't want a situation like the Ogoni people in Nigeria, in Niger Delta, where millions of dollars is made by multinationals, yet the people don't even have good roads to and from their farms. Their environment is polluted, and people are getting infected with cancer and dying by the day.
Right.
So the people also do deserve their share of the kitty. Okay, we need to agree in principle. What is it? What is there for the people? Which is where can they access? Let's agree on gentleman things, in principles, on paper. This is how it's going to be, and this is what the people are going to get from their land.
Absolutely.
But if you claim they pay taxes, so the multinational pay taxes and they pay royalties, how about the people?
Sure. Okay.
Because they are the receiving end. In some cases, when these chemicals are applied and a whole lot happens, but they are the receiving end. So we need to also be mindful about what these communities go through and the need for them to have their share of the kitty. I think it is important.
Right. All right, Adib, thank you very much for speaking to us. That's Adib Sani. He is a security analyst.
Yeah.
And he talks about, people should be able to benefit from
people should be able to benefit. And, I agree absolutely, because if you're a mining company and you come into a community, the community should be able to benefit, from your activities over there, because you've come into the community to mine the gold and all of that. And so your corporate social responsibility should reflect heavily, right? Should reflect heavily, in the town that you are in. Of course, I know that AngloGold Ashanti has engaged in quite a number of corporate social responsibility. And I mean, they have a hospital, they have a
schools. Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure they've done quite a number of things. But perhaps there should be more coming to the people, because you are taking away their gold. And like I was saying, look, if the people in Obuasi feel aggrieved and these miners feel aggrieved, use the appropriate channels. Now, you've gone into a concession in which we're not supposed to go into. Security agencies have engaged and 8 people have died. I mean, to what end? To what end, you know, really? So I believe that the investigations will go on, and whoever is culpable, because there is also the other aspect of, you know, the soldiers. And like Adib Sani was saying, the amount of force that was used, was it really proportionate? Because according to them, they were fired upon.
And then so they returned fire.
So how come 8 people, you know, died?
8 of the miners, because if somebody fired at you, but in your return, you killed 8 people, but none of your people.
Yeah, so
you know,
it makes. Well, I don't know. So
well, maybe
we also need to look at that, because if you are defending the mine and you know people are attacking, yes, you are professionally trained, but you know, wouldn't you rather find a way to immobilize, you know, rather than to kill?
Exactly.
You know, but I mean, there have been 3 statements, right, from AngloGold Ashanti, from the Ghana Armed Forces, and also from the presidency, right? So AngloGold Ashanti says that they are confirming the incident which occurred on the 18th of January. They say that a large group of illegal miners attempted to forcibly gain unauthorized access to mine infrastructure. Authorities mobilized to defend against this attack to ensure the safety and security of employees and those in the immediate surroundings. The authorities have confirmed that 7 illegal miners tragically lost their lives. You know, the Ghana Armed Forces also say 8. So, you know, what's the appropriate figure, right? Or perhaps this one came before another person died. We don't know.
Probably.
So the situation in the mine is
if you look at the dates for the release of the statement, the AngloGold released theirs on the 18th, while Ghana Armed Forces on the 19th. Probably
on the 19th, so probably after that, you know, one more person.
More update,
one more person died. So that's AngloGold. And then there's the Ghana Armed Forces, who also explained the reason why they had to return fire. If you look at the Ghana Armed Forces statement, right? They said the troops returned fire in self-defense because the illegal miners were wielding locally manufactured rifles, pump-action guns, gas cylinders, knives, heavy-duty industrial boats, cutters, axes, and machetes. And the troops returned fire in self-defense. And the shootout led to the death of 7 illegal miners and 1 seriously injured, right? And the remaining illegal miners bolted. So a soldier who was also hit by pellets from a pump-action gun, you know, got injured and has been treated, and 6 pump-action BB cartridges were retrieved. And then this is the statement from the presidency. And what I'm interested in here is that the presidency is also directing that AngloGold Ashanti should bear the medical expenses of the injured individuals fully, and not to facilitate the burial arrangements for those who have lost their lives. And I think that is in order. So it's not like the president is sitting there aloof and not saying anything about this. So that's something that the presidency is very interested in.
And we like the fact that, I mean, not to belittle the previous administration, but this particular administration's communications bureau is upbeat. Always, I mean, the presidency is responding to
because this is a very serious issue, right? This is a very serious issue, because 8 lives, you understand, or 7 lives have been lost, and that is not something that we should gloss over and allow, you know, to lie just like that. I mean, whenever a Ghanaian life is lost in a manner like this, which has the potential to cause tension, right? Because, you know, Obuasi, there is tension. Schools are closed. Public and private schools are closed. You know, because of the tension situation there.
They don't know whether the situation will resurface.
So for the presidency to comment on this is kudos to the president. So it tells you that they want to get to the bottom of this and make sure that something like this does not happen again.
The statement talked about the fact that security agencies have been tasked to take prompt action to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. So let's see who, I mean, if the military personnel who shot were at fault, whoever, you know, did that should be made to face the full rigors of the law, especially if they didn't use the proportional force like the Ghana Armed Forces is telling us. Because we've been in this country where we've been told by police that some individuals were armed robbers, and because they were armed robbers, they were shot and killed. And this simple because the army is telling us that they retrieved pump action gun cartridges and what have you. The police told us that these are the guns that the armed robbers use, and they did a press conference and they came and paraded guns on the table and say that these are the guns that the armed robbers use and all of that. In the end, it turned out all to be lies. The police were lying. And these people, the police actually were trigger happy, and they went and they killed these individuals.
That's the critical question. Do we seem to have trigger happy security personnel in this country?
They went and they killed the people.
That is the critical question.
Just like that in Asawase, and they came and told us that they were armed robbers. Even in the giraffe.
Yes.
So I'll take it with a pinch of salt, because the Ghana forces definitely would, come out with their side. AngloGold will come out with their side. But then a proper investigation will uncover the real facts. And that is what we need. And that is what we need.
Anyway, that's it for Inside Out. On a lighter note, though, Charlie, the president, simulator head every pound. We'll back shortly. Captain has joined us on studio. Captain, good morning.
This is your boy, Charlie. This is your boy. I think I have to do some of the.
I know what Lantam is doing.
This is your boy.
Red hair.
You see how you are standing? The cameras can see. Turn your head here. Turn your head here. The way you are standing, the cameras can see. Utala.
Lantam.
Look here.
Lantam, good morning.
Look here.
Good morning.
You want to see their boy? You want to see their boy? Where you are, they can't see their boy. They only see one side of your head. They can't see that. Turn your head here for them to see their boy. Oh, Utala. Don't do that. You are shy.
Hold on.
Why are you shy?
Maybe we'll have to put the table here for men.
Yeah, so
just look here for me.
Please say hi
to Look at their boy.
But how was your weekend?
Yeah, the weekend was okay, but very slow. But I know mine is better than Lantam's.
Don't worry. Don't worry about us at all.
The two of them again.
Don't worry about us at all. Anyway.
But I just said my weekend has been very slow, but I know it's better than yours.
How do you know it was better than mine? Do you know what I did with my weekend?
What did you do?
Okay. No
matter what you did over the weekend, I know.
You know. How do you know?
What has happened?
Do you know how sweet my weekend was?
Okay.
How was it?
On that sweet.
Do you know what I was doing?
Let's head to the courts.
Okay, so just like we do know, on Friday a lot of things happened over the weekend, and for those who will be asking the question on what exactly is happening in relation to the NDC's applications to the Supreme Court, especially asking for the High Court's orders to the EC to collate, in fact, outstanding polling station results in relation to Tema Central, Okankwe Central, Techiman South, and Ablikuma North. It's still pending at the Supreme Court. Guess what? On Thursday, the Supreme Court will go into the matter. Thursday, January 23, the Supreme Court will go into the matter.
Does it mean that it will bring finality to it?
So now what they are seeking at the Supreme Court is to the effect that they are asking for two things. And for those who remember, on the first day of January 2025, New Year's Day, Justice for Simbai Japan dismissed or refused or overruled the NDC's objection challenging the jurisdiction of the High Court to hear the mandamus application from the NPP side. The court, having overruled that, went into the mandamus application itself, heard them one after the other, and then January 4, the court granted the request from the applicant, the NPP side, and ordered the EC to collate outstanding results of Tema Central. Tema Central was two polling stations. If you go to Okankwe Central, there were 31 polling stations. Ablekuma North 62 and Techiman South 147. 3 have been completed. Techiman South, Okankwe Central, then Tema Central. But Ablekuma North is still pending. There are issues with that. They say they disagree with that particular orders given. And even though those 3 have been completed, they are asking the Apex Court by way of judicial review in the nature of certiorari to quash that orders of justice for Simba Ejepon. So on Thursday, the Supreme Court will sit on the matter and dealt with it. And we'll know whether the orders of the High Court will stand or it will not, or it will be as it is. And if it will stand, if the court agrees with the NDC side by way of this certiorari, it means that for the second time, you notice that the first time that they went to the High Court, they went and said that the orders of Justice Joseph Owusu Ajiman, that the EC should go and do the collation. The NDC side were not heard. This time they were heard and it was granted. So they will go to the Supreme Court, see what the Supreme Court will say. And that is not all the cases that the Supreme Court will hear on Thursday. Again, Akwetia constituency and Eskumi, the court placed an interim injunction on him. He went to Parliament on the eve of the 7th January, and then he defied all the order and said, look, I am here, swear me in. The court has given an order, forget about it. We'll deal with it after. That case is before the Supreme Court. On that same day, the Supreme Court will also deal with it. So these are some of the things that we should look up to in this very week.
Okay. And then there was a certain workshop.
Yes. Galamsey issues, illegal mining. So I had the opportunity or privilege to be part of that particular workshop where stakeholders, some media practitioners, and also community leaders, opinion leaders, all of them came together, NGOs and other civil society organizations came together. And note that before this government was leaving office, the issue about LI Legislative Instrument 2462 was an issue that was before Parliament. We know what happened in Parliament because of this controversy, the Speaker of Parliament making an orders taken to Supreme Court. So there was an issue where Parliament was not sitting. So issues before the Parliament that were supposed to have been dealt with were not dealt with. So that particular legislation or issue was one of the things that was before Parliament for its revocation. The law that grant access to mining in the forest reserve, they want it revoked. And so this particular workshop engaged or spoke about this very issue and made a recommendation or make some form of agreement or trying to come up with suggestions that will help government or help civil society organizers push for that particular question. But let's hear from Adib Sani and a managing associate with Taylor Crab, an initiative.
Workshop is to train civil society and community bodies on mining laws, let them know what the laws are, what is considered, what is not. Because we realize that one of the biggest issues with illegal mining that we have in the country is the lack of information on what the law is. We also get to strategize with them because the number of people who are here are affected by illegal mining on how best we can address it. So in the workshop, we talked about looking at immediate term actions, short-term actions, and long-term actions. And one of our immediate term actions is to call for the revocation of the LI that wasn't revoked before the last parliament expired. So that's been the purpose and what we've done at this training session. Illegal mining is a problem that we face as a country. After the election, we picked up reports that illegal mining is rampant and it's back. There was a cooling down period just before the election, but it's picked up. And we just want to keep the fire going so that people don't die, we don't lose sleep. Because we think, we are no longer hearing about illegal mining in the news. So we want people to continue, we want the communities that are affected to continue to have a voice and to have a coordinated action trying to resolve these issues that illegal mining presents for them from a legal perspective. Community members and civil society organizations said this best. So I think in the short term, their goal is to get government to repeal the LI and get government to put a pause on all forms of mining in water bodies and forests. So in the short term, that's what we are looking to do, and that's what we are hoping to do. We're also hoping that the attendees of the training leave better trained and better impacted and with more knowledge about our laws when it comes to legal mining, so that they can go back to their communities and tell people that this is allowed, this is not allowed. Also, that when they see that something is wrong and something is not as it should be, they're able to speak up and ensure that the right thing.
So that is Albert Ejepo, is a managing associate with Taylor Crab, law associate, and they were part of the organizers of this very one. But what exactly is the fate of this LI that we are talking about? Let's hear me again.
So I think that the LI was sent to Parliament because the minister intended to revoke it. But I think on the 9th of June, when the minister was asked, couldn't confirm whether the bill was actually laid before Parliament. But whatever the case is, by our laws, when a bill is before Parliament and that bill does not pass before the Parliament's time is up, we have to start the process again. And that's one of the calls that the civil society organizations are making today. That is, they are asking whoever, when the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources is appointed, that they lay a bill before Parliament to revoke this particular line. Because it's subsidiary legislation, it has to lie before Parliament for 21 parliamentary sittings. And at the expiration of that 21 parliamentary sittings, that bill would take effect and would have revoked this law. So in terms of status, right now as it stands, the law still forms part of our laws. It's effective and it can be relied on, even though the outgone Minister of Lands and Natural Resources signaled an intent not to use the law. Until it's revoked of our statute, it's still available and it can be used.
All right, thank you.
So that is more about that particular LI. They want it, civil society organizations want it revoked and all that. Arusha Ghana was also present at that particular forum, and Daryl Bosu, deputy director Arusha Ghana, was also there, and I have been engaging him on this very forum, what exactly they want done in relation to this very initiative that was put together.
Issue a cease and desist order to all the various actors on the ground, because one of the key promises this government made is that they are going to deal actively with Galamsey, very decisive. So we believe it should start now. There is action going on to reset the country. Several ministers have seen appointments there, but we have as yet to see any appointment coming from the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Land. I don't want to believe that this is what is delaying any action on Galamsey. The degradation and the destruction going on our water bodies and lands cannot wait. We can't wait till all the ministers are in place before action is taken. That's why an immediate cease and desist order is important. But going forward, I think the bigger issue of the LI, which has been on the table for a long time, still needs to be addressed. And I think that even before the election, there were quite some activities or actions by civil society and the broader public to get this LI revoked. We know it went to Parliament, and because of a frustration in Parliament, these issues were not processed as it should. Now we have another opportunity, and if this government is really serious about revoking...
So that's Daryl Bosu.
Yes, Daryl Bosu.
Deputy Director Arusha Ghana, also making a point there at that particular forum. So all in all, they are seeking to have that particular LI revoked. Started with the previous administration. Said, no, we are not waiting for the minister to be appointed before we do. We want to keep the fire on before the minister comes. Once the minister comes, he knows that there's something on the table for him to
immediately deal with.
And if you hear the kind of conversations, the kind of testimonies from these Galamsey areas, Lillian and Lantam, this country, we need to do something. We
need to be up and doing. Absolutely. But let's look at some of the cases coming up today. Mike Nuneko is back in court.
Yes, the case with the most witnesses started with 61. And guess what it has got into now? 61. If you have 41 now, it means minus what? 20.
Yes. Wow. But that's still a significant number.
Exactly.
As we've always been saying. It's quite
still
a significant number
yes.
of witnesses.
From 61, they have been, the accused person and his lawyers have been able to reduce it to 41. And guess what? Last week, Wednesday, 16, 26, 27, 28 witnesses were in the witness box before Justice Ifya Sewa Saribochi. They testified. In fact, their testimonies were very brief, so they testified cross-examined by state prosecutors, and they were discharged. Today, before Justice Ifya Sewa Saribochi, Justice of the Court of Appeal, presiding as an additional High Court judge, will be hearing the witness number 29. And this is a witness who will not be coming to court in person. The person is outside the country, so the testimony will be taken via video link.
All right.
this is a case that we should keep an eye on, and some more that, of course, we'll get to do newsroom and our subsequent bullets.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to
Captain
the duo
Mutala
and to all the
Inusa.
Manchester United fans there. I say good.
Oh, don't worry.
Thank you for the work.
You should worry about the fact that every time you see a Premier League trophy, you get
Then they get
Popo Blue, and then you run instead of going to win your match so that you can get closer. You're going to play draw. You are sitting there. You are happy.
I got 1 point. At least I got 1 point.
You come to troll us.
We know that's it for court today. Let's see what the newspapers are reporting this morning. We begin with the Daily Graphic newspaper. President Mahama asked the Santini to help address economic woes as he went for his first Akwesi Day since assuming power. Constitution Review Committee formed experts to present recommendations in 5 months, declare assets before taking office. Shrag charges public officers in new government. 8 killed in clash with military at AngloGold Ashanti Obuasi mine.
Soldiers pump bullets into 7 miners. Commander-in-Chief orders probe into the killings. It's interesting the picture of Mahama they decided to put there. You remember when John Mahama wore his military apparel? Interesting. Ashanti region will get its fair share of development, that's according to John Mahama. And also Achehene Distu's coal tar chief. Multi-billion-dollar investment signals new era of industrial transformation for West Africa. So that's it for the Chronicle.
The Daily Dispatch says Mahama to submit final batch of ministers to Parliament today, ex gratia. We will not do to Akufo-Addo what he did to Mahama. That's according to Joyce Ba Mukhtari. EC gives update on Ablekuma North constituency. Top 5 chronic conditions affecting Ghanaians between 27 and 62. It's something that you should all look out for. So grab a copy of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Let's move on.
Okay, new crusading guy. 7 illegal miners killed in fierce gun battle with military at AngloGold Ashanti mines. Krabwa coal tar chief stood over 2 deaths. Ni Taino, we chiefs, elders, Lord Linda Oklu's appointments, and Chamber of Bullion Traders congratulations Lami Jemfi. Newmont honors Victoria Ajikumwa as best female mining engineer graduate. All right, so that's all there on the New Crusading Guide newspaper.
The Daily Post is our final newspaper for this morning. President Mahama pledges to enhance infrastructure development in the Ashanti region. Mahama orders probe into deadly Obuasi clash. Meets the newly appointed CEOs by Mahama. He has Shami Jemfi. He has Godwin Eduji Tamiklu. He has Yaira Kokul. He has M. Fahad Castle, Edward Abambiri Bawa. And he also has Afechi Awuno. Yeah, there. So grab a copy of Daily Post and find out more about the new appointees.
All right, finally, we'll take a look at the Daily Statesman. I came in peace and left in peace. Akufo-Addo proud of legacy. Okay. Sunyani chief to champion environmental cleanliness. Jantua pushes for nuclear power to boost industrial growth. Lower courts disrespect for superior courts, eroding confidence in judiciary, and many dead in AngloGold. And is it really?
Why would you call it AngloGold NDC tax clash?
I don't know.
Charlie.
But we know the leanings of the Daily Statesman newspaper, so you shouldn't be too surprised to see a headline like that. So it's normal. You know the leaning of a newspaper like the Daily Post. So when you see a pro NDC headline or an anti NPP headline, you shouldn't be too surprised. You know the leaning of the Daily Statesman. So if you see an anti NDC or pro MPP headline, you shouldn't be too surprised. This is how newspapers usually would report because we know their leanings. But anyway, but I always insist that, facts should precede your political leanings, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it's time for the sports chat. Joel is in the studio. I don't know what Joel is up to. I don't know what's the meaning of this.
It's now time for sports chat.
What's the meaning of this? What is this?
I see people thronging into the studio when they saw me holding the trophy.
What is this?
So you want to find
out why is there Manchester? What has Manchester City? Why is there Manchester City?
Is now on winning ways. Let me present this to you.
For what?
For what?
For what?
Will you win any trophy this season? Just enjoy it.
Are you serious right now?
This is for Man United.
Don't worry, I'll take it.
All the best. Lily,
I'll take it.
You don't want to.
I'll take it.
And this
I'll take it. Don't worry. No, you see, you should be presenting this trophy to Arsenal. Where is Butala? Butala should come and take the trophy.
This is for you guys.
Present it to Arsenal. They are the ones who see the trophy and they get popoblibli. So he should come and hold the trophy and let us see whether he will not shake. He will drop the trophy. He can't even hold it.
It's okay.
Don't give it to you. Why are you giving it to me? We as Manchester United, listen, we as Manchester United, we know that this season we are not winning any trophy. We are coming back next season.
We are giving it to Man City.
It is Arsenal who are second in the league. And then instead of winning and getting 3 points, they've got to play draw. I told you, they get popoblibli when they see trophy. When they see trophy. I don't know why I'm about to give this trophy to me. Give it to Butala. Give it to the Arsenal. They see, on behalf of GH today, I present this trophy to all Arsenal fans. This is the trophy that you will get this season. No other trophy. Thank you very much. What is it for us? Let's go.
Oh, okay.
Small three. We concede no.
Let's go.
You are making noise. Small three. My brother.
You sound sometimes like Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The least thing, team na you gave somebody a yele, and yesterday you also got.
Don't worry. We are fine.
All right. So we've got the Ghana Premier League. Kotoko are back on winning ways also.
Oh, nice.
Hartlepool not too good for them. But then we've got the results of the Ghana Premier League games that were played. Hartlepool sharing the spoils. They were away in Samraboy. They played Samatex. Unfortunately for them, Samatex are league defenders. They played a 0-0 drawn game there. Kumasi Asante Kotoko were 4-1 winners over Vision FC in their game. And in Swaterman, though not on winning ways, I mean, they are not looking too good on the table. They made sure that they got 1-0 over Karela United. Baseke.
Baseke Holy Stars.
Holy Stars.
Yes.
So it was the clash against Stars. Baseke shared the spoils 1-1 drawn game with Adriana Stars. Accra Lions also were losers at home to the BBN Gold Stars. So they lost 3-0 in their game here in Accra. And Brekum Chelsea were 2-1 winners over Mediama, whilst Hearts of Lions, who are league leaders, were 0-1 losers over Nations FC. So they were given a caution by the coach of Nations FC, Coach Nana. I mean, very good coach there. He was being chased by Kumasi Asante Kotoko, but he chose Nations FC. They are all based in Kumasi anyway, but then they made sure that they went all the way to Pando from Kumasi to win by a lone goal. So congrats to them there. And it was between the two.
They did not honor their boss, when their boss has been made Black Stars management committee chair.
It could have been a consolation to celebrate. And Young Apostles, Bechem United, I mean, they played a 0-0 drawn game there in BA, and Legon Cities as well. Dreams FC, unfortunately, not looking too good with the Ghana Premier League. They lost there to Legon Cities in their fixture. Well, so those are the results in the Ghana Premier League match week. 17 games that were played, and this is how the table stands. Gold Stars has leapfrogged onto the top of the Ghana Premier League with 33 points, keenly followed there by Nations FC. And it tells you these are debutants in the Ghana Premier League, and they are causing a stir. So what is happening to the likes of Kotoko, Hartlepool? Kotoko looking
breaking my heart.
Exactly, but then
the point difference is not that much. The point difference is not that much.
My worry again,
it's a close contest.
Exactly,
because the top is 33 points, second 32, 31, 30, and 29. I mean, 29, 30, 31, 32. You close to the top.
You play a game, you can quickly come up. That's how Gold Stars have managed. They leapfrog over Hearts of Lions, who were top of the league. because of the points gap. You know, they won their game. Hearts of Lions lost. So they came up, and then Hearts of Lions is in 4th place. So Bechem United occupying the 5th place. Hearts of Oak sit with 29 points. Mediama, Samatex, and Baseke Holy Stars follow in that order. So defending champions, they are lying 7 there, and Baseke Holy Stars are 9th. We've got Brekum Chelsea, who are 10th place, and not too good for Accra Lions
and Lagos Cities.
They played Dreams FC in a game that raised a lot of controversy over the fact that, the referee was being pointed out as a hatchetman for allegedly being a hatchetman for the FA, and this is where they find themselves, unfortunately for them. So this is how the Ghana Premier League table looks like after 17 games have been played so far, right? So the Ghana Premier League, there. Enough of that. Let's now quickly shift to, obviously, the big news, because there's a newly constituted Black Stars Management Committee. They've dissolved the old one, and then the newly constituted one will be seeing Dr. Randy Abe chairing the new Black Star Management Committee. Vice Chair is Stephen Appiah, former Black Stars captain, Mosisama Parker, who is Mediama CEO, and Samuel Abuabri. Abuabri is actually the Greater Accra RFA chairman. So that's Abuabri. And then Mr. Risid Insetre. He is with Samatex. He's the CEO of Samatex, really pumping in so much into football and ensuring that his side is doing well. They came into the league debutants and they won it. They performed so well on the African continent. But my problem again, I don't know how it's going to look like. You know, this gentleman has already been on the
he's been on the management committee before.
Issue ensued.
Yes, and he's still there.
2014 World Cup. He's been brought back again. Is it going to raise eyebrows? What is he bringing on the table? Well, for Dr. Randy Abe, his team is looking so good. He's been a vice chairman of the, GFA before during Yantichi's time and what have you. So he's, he leading the front. I believe
it gives you some confidence.
It gives me some confidence. And Stephen Appiah is to manage the players. His role is to go. He's going to do player relations as well as supporting Dr. Randy Abe. So I think Stephen Appiah in there with the player relations will really play a key role.
And I was telling you earlier that, arguably is one of the better captains that the Black Stars has ever had. In the history of the Black Stars, Stephen Appiah has been that one captain who really started. During his time, you saw that unity in the team. And there were these factions and divisions.
He showed a lot of
leadership.
A lot of maturity, a lot of leadership qualities. I think a lot of people should take up his stead. So that's for the Black Star.
They keep on calming. They keep on calming.
I had that video. I don't know why I even left it, but I need to excuse Stephen Appiah. Today is Manchester United. All right, so the 28th Gusa Games is over. So we'll be bringing results of the 28 Gusa Games. We've been heavy on it, giving results, fixtures, and everything on the Gusa Games. But this is how the table looks like. So UCC, I told you they were defending champions, and hopefully they were going to defend and win it. They made sure they got 18 gold medals, 17 silver medals, and 18 bronze medals there. So this is how the medal table looks like, followed by University of Ghana, Legon, KNUST, University of Education, Winneba, UDS, University of Development Studies.
Oh, UNE.
And UNE also there.
Oh, Amusted,
UNE.
Only one bronze. Ghana Telecom. Or is it GCT?
Ghana Communications Technical University.
It's only one medal.
They went all the way to Cape Coast. Let's go and pick one.
One bronze medal.
I think they should deal with them. You can't travel all the way.
How come?
Waste of time.
You can even get silver, one gold.
Yeah.
All the sporting disciplines, only one. Netball, badminton, goalball, even goalball.
Also, there was the penalty shootout. It entered the penalty shootout actually between KNUST and UCC, and it was UCC who won this one also when it came to the football competition. So that's the games that panned out in Cape Coast, the university games. Remember, the university really hauling in a lot of talent also for the country. The likes of Azamati and all the others who've been sprinting for Ghana. They came from the University of Ghana, Legon, and all that into the national team. So the University Games plays a key role when it comes to developing talents in the country. All right. So quickly before we go, let's bring you the Champions League results. And this is what I was trying to link our local league to. If our local league is doing well, we should be seeing ourselves here.
The CAF Champions League.
Champions League. or in the CAF Confederations Cup. Unfortunately, we don't.
There's no Ghana team anywhere.
There's no Ghanaian team here. But TP Mazembe won by 4-0 over Al Hilal. Al Hilal there from Sudan. Unfortunately, they lost. This is young Africans, not young apostles. So young Africans, they played 0-0 with AC Alger from Algeria. Whilst Al Ahly, obviously, we know they are tough customers when it comes to the.
But Orlando Pirates did one over them.
Orlando Pirates from South Africa, they won away from home. They went all the way to Egypt to go and win this one. So it plays a key role for them there. And Belgrade, they won by 6-0 over a Cote d'Ivoire side, Stade d'Abidjan, and ES Tunis, Esperance de Tunis, big opponents. I remember when Hatfield played them here in Accra and also way back in Tunisia. They won 4-1 over Esperança there in their fixture. Well, so on Sunday also there were games played. Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, they shared the spoils in South Africa 1-1, and Raja Casablanca 1-0 over AS Menia Union. Well, so this is how the CAF Champions League looks like so far and how it's going. All right, we'll be wrapping up, but quickly let's look at the standings and how it's looking like with the CAF Champions League as well. Al Hilal is topping this one, though they lost against TP Mazembe. They are topping the group A, and they are topping it with 10 points so far. And so it looks like Al Hilal is going to go through this particular group looking good with 10 points. MC Alger from Algeria also followed there with 9 points. Well, so this is how the Group A table looks like. Quickly, let's look at Group B, and then we'll be following others. Group B, Asfa there with 10 points. Also, Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa with 9 points, and Raja with 8 points, as well as Maniema Union with 3 points. All right, so this Group C as well. Orlando Pirates, Al Ahly followed there, 14 points. Orlando Pirates has. Al Ahly also has 10 points, and we've got Boustad. They won by 6 goals, but they just have, 6 points there. Esperance de Tunis finally ending the CAF Champions League standings or table. Esperance de Tunis has 13 points. Pyramids FC from Nigeria, they've got 13 points, and Esperança has 5 points, as well as Juliba. They've also got
Pyramids
2 points.
FC.
Yeah, Pyramids.
From Nigeria.
Pyramids
FC.
Even Bamako. Mali. Hey.
Yeah, so
Pyramids FC.
Ghana.
Let's
from Nigeria. Okay.
Okay, all right. So let's quickly look at the English Premier League. The English Premier League table. All right. So the Pyramids FC is actually from Egypt, not
from Egypt,
not from Nigeria. Everton won there. That was over the weekend. 3-2. The game ended between there and Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester United lost by 3-1. Brighton Hove and Albion. What really happened there at the Theatre of Dreams?
We know.
What really happened at
the Theatre
Tottenham
Forest 3-2 against Southampton.
I don't want us to skip it. You don't want
Tottenham
Forest. Continue.
And Manchester City.
That's why I brought the jersey.
I'm not a Manchester City fan, but this is the second game and they've won. So at least it tells you they've let.
Guardiola has put the divorce behind him. He's looking for it.
Thank you.
I think the players are playing because they know their coach is divorced. It might affect him mentally.
So they are trying to make him happy.
Try to make him happy.
On Saturday, Newcastle
game.
Antoine Semenyo on the assist.
Exactly, on the assist there. 4-1 that game ended. Leicester were losers at home to Fulham, 2-0. On Saturday was 2-0, 2-0, and 2-2 games that were played. This is how the table looks like in the English Premier League. Liverpool topping with 50 points. 50 points.
Yeah, but you see, Arsenal has dropped points.
50 points. Arsenal are sharing points, obviously.
They've dropped points. They dropped points.
They were going to drop it. I don't know about the Popobi Blim thing you've been saying, but I think they are trophy phobia.
That is the Popobi Blim. When they see a trophy, they start shaking.
I think they are trophy phobia.
Arsenal doesn't. They are afraid of.
I know most Arsenal fans will not like me saying this, but
it's true.
This is how the La Liga, and interestingly also, Real Madrid has leapfrogged onto the top of La Liga. Leganes won in their game over Atletico Madrid 1-0. That game ended. Lavas also won 3-1 over Betis. Getafe, where they played 1-1 drawn game with Barcelona yesterday. Many were expecting that Barcelona would have won this game, but unfortunately for Barcelona, they left it hanging there, sharing the spoils. Athletic Club, Inaki's side, they won 2-1 over Celta Vigo, and Real Madrid 4-1 winners
Madrid
in their game.
Hala
So they topping
Monica will be happy.
Yes, she's jumping and all over the place on social media and the rest. Atletico Madrid followed there keenly, and so look at the points gap between Real Madrid and Barcelona, 46-39, and then we've got 4th place Athletic Club and Villarreal and Mallorca in that order. So the top 6 is looking good for Real Madrid. Are they going to carry it for
at least one of the
season?
teams I support is doing well?
You support Real Madrid?
Yes.
This is for Mutala. This is for Mutala. Where is he? Where is he? He was here. He said
he has run away.
What's happening?
He has run away.
The guy didn't leave this. He couldn't leave the stands. I mean, the security guys had to come and console him, speak to him. This thing is not plastic. If it was Ghana, I'm sure by now he would have messed it up. The guy,
let me present this trophy to him. I'll give him this trophy. This is the trophy Arsenal fans will win.
And so this for you. This is Onana currently. This is Andre Onana currently. And can you imagine? The guy might have the thing had entered the pool. But he was trying to see. He was checking whether this is Andre Onana currently. Andre Onana.
You Lantam, see, I missed.
He's entering the post.
I missed the gear.
Anyway, guys,
I'm one of the few Manchester United fans who
So you have to keep the trophy.
No, I'll give it to Mutala. I'll give it to Mutala.
Thank you.
Because they will but Arsenal, they are the ones who they see trophy and then they will run away from the trophy for whatever. So I'll give this one to Mutala.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Joel. Thanks for the sports chat. That's it for now. We take a break. When we come back, our guests are here. It will be time for the breakfast review. Do stay tuned in.
to the show. You're still watching GH Today here on GHOne Television, and it's time for the breakfast review. My guests are here in the studio. We'll get into the issues. Quite a lot to tackle, quite a lot to talk about. For example, we know that President John Dramani Mahama has set up a constitutional review implementation committee headed by Professor Kwesi Prempeh of the CDD. And we've had a lot of, constitutional review committees, set up here and there. But implementation usually of the review and the recommendations that are done are usually a problem. What's going to be different this time around? We'll talk a little bit about it. And also, tragedy in Obuasi, as reportedly 7 people have lost their lives, with some critically injured after a clash between small-scale miners or illegal miners, or should I say community members, and the military on a concession of AngloGold Ashanti. Of course, there were gunshots fired, according to the accounts of the military and AngloGold. The military returned fire, and unfortunately, people died. We know the president has asked for there to be investigations into this, has asked AngloGold to take up the full cost of the treatment and also, the burial of the deceased. And he expects that a full investigation will be launched into it, and we'll get to the bottom of it. So that unfortunate incident has happened. As it stands now, schools are closed in Obuasi because they are not sure whether or not proper calm has been restored to the area. We'll talk about that here on the show as well. And of course, much later on today, the ministerial vetting continues. President Mahama has nominated the men that he wants to go to the various ministries, and today we'll be seeing the vetting of 3 of them. We'll talk a little bit about that as well here on the show today. All coming up on the Breakfast Review. In the studio with me this morning is member of the New Patriotic Party. We always love to see him here on the show, Nana Fredua Ajimai Oforiata. Nana, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you. I believe it's the first time I'm seeing you this year.
Very much so.
So I think Happy New Year is in order.
It is. It is.
It is good to see you. How's the year been?
Well, regardless, it's happy. You know what I mean? Regardless,
it's happy.
Yes.
Well,
for me, I'm a consummate optimist. So even in a negative situation, I see that there's a silver lining somewhere. So it's a happy new year.
Many happy returns. Also in the studio is member of the National Democratic Congress. He's also former MP for Myong. Honorable Mohammed Abdulaziz. Good morning.
Good morning, Lantam.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You're
you look
looking
very
well.
Nice in your 3-piece suit.
Thank you very much. You don't look bad yourself in your all white.
I don't mind you lending it to me for a weekend wedding.
No problem. No problem at all. It's good to see you.
I'm good. I'm good.
How is it going? 9 days in government, or is it 10 days in government?
His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC have assumed the reins of governance. The initial issues have come. President Mahama and the NDC is dealing with it. Issues of threats of power instability, some related security-related issue in Kwanta, the issues at Obuasi. These are some of the initial issues that have threatened some security in some parts of this country, but President Mahama and the NDC are up to task. They are dealing with it as expected, and so as a government we are good. Challenges will come, but it is how you confront them that counts. And I am more than convinced that President Mahama is tackling all these issues with all the seriousness that it deserves. Yeah. So we are on.
So President Mahama has started, doing all the things, like you mentioned. He's been doing all of these things. The recent one that he has done is setting up a constitutional review committee, and the committee is expected to identify and address the gaps and challenges with the implementation of the previous constitutional review work done by the 2010 Constitutional Review Commission and the 2023 Constitution Review Consultative Committee. So they've been tasked to engage key stakeholders, solicit their views and proposals for amendments of the 1992 Constitution, and make actionable recommendations aimed at enhancing democratic governance in the country. So we've got the likes of H. Kwesi Prempeh of the CDD, he's the chairman. We've got Charlotte Osei, former chairperson of the EC, also as a member. Dr. Godwin Jokoto, senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School, is also a member. Dr. Esi Ansa, executive director of Ashesi University. Dr. Reina Akumperija, I hope I'm getting it right. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing the name well. Justice Sophia Adinyira, also a retired justice of the Supreme Court, and Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, executive director of Star Ghana Foundation, is in there, and Professor Kwame Kakari, former executive director for the Media Foundation of West Africa. So these are the members of the committee. I mean, how do you find the step by the president? We've had so many constitutional review committees talk of reviewing the constitution, but no government has really implemented it. I mean, how can we trust that this time around is going to be any different from what we've witnessed in the past?
Lantam, the issue of constitutional review has been a matter of concern, not just to President Mahama, but the NDC as a political party. And so, if you remember, it was a very topical issue in the run-up to the 2008 presidential and parliamentary elections. Then candidate Mills, with now President Mahama as president, then as a running mate, made a pledge to review the constitution if we want power. And so when we assumed power in 2009, if you remember, President Mahama put up a committee to solicit for public views on some aspects of the constitution that requires amendments. Having run with the constitution as at that time for almost 20 years, we felt that we needed to do some amendments to make the constitution reflect more the desires and aspirations of the people of Ghana. Mind you, this very constitution that was birthed by the NDC is the most enduring one in the history of Ghana, having served us for 32 years. But we all recognize that we need to, it's a living a document, we need to carry out some amendment. And so that was done somewhere, I think in 2010, President Mills put up a commission to solicit for views of from the public to areas that needed to be amended. That was done. I think that a report was submitted to the presidency somewhere 2011 December. But because the Electoral Commission had to do a lot of work, and the fact that we are approaching the next elections, it was decided that we shelve it for the meantime, and then after the elections we'll turn back to it, and that was done. So after the 2012 election, when President Mahama became president for his first term, what President Mahama also did was to form a constitutional review implementation committee. That is what most people don't know. People think that right after President Mills, the document was shelved. No, a white paper was issued. The white paper would have been issued under President Mills. You know, when a commission does a work, the government is required to issue a white paper where it is required to state its position on the findings of the commission. Some aspects were accepted wholly, some aspects were accepted partly, and some aspects were rejected wholly. And so after the white paper, like I said, the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee was put in place. That committee was headed by Professor Dankwa, if I get the name right. And they started to engage Parliament and the Electoral Commission. Somewhere along the line, a citizen of the Republic, Professor Azar, had issues with some of the recommendations and the way we were proceeding with the process. And so he issued a writ at the Supreme Court, and that stalled the entire project. By the time that the Supreme Court dealt with the matter, we're approaching 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections. And so the government of President Mahama didn't want to overburden the Electoral Commission, because going through that implementation would have meant that one would have gone to Parliament to amend those parts of the Constitution that are not entrenched, that just needed some parliamentary approval for those changes to be effected. Of course, those that are entrenched, the EC would have been required to organize a referendum. And so President Mahama thought that the Electoral Commission had just finished the issue of district level elections, and we're preparing for the general elections. And so President Mahama didn't want to overburden the Electoral Commission at that time. And then we went to the election, and unfortunately President Mahama lost the elections. It was an expectation that President Akufo-Addo, former President Akufo-Addo, would have taken the matter up. He never did throughout his tenure in office. It was only in 2023 that the then majority leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Osei Chimensa Bonsu, also put up a consultative process to seek for public opinion on the review of the Constitution. They have also made some very far-reaching findings and conclusions. So now what this committee is supposed to do is to marry the findings or the recommendations of the earlier one in 2010 with the one that was done just last year, last 2 years, 2023, is to marry the two findings and see how the two can be fused together, and then look for gaps that still exist so that we can close in the gaps. Because look, every day, every hour, every week, every month, you see the need for some changes to be done. And so one, the task of this current committee would be to fuse the two together and to also see the gap that still exists so that they can close the gap. They have a 5 months duration to be able to do that. Their terms of reference is very clear. I have no doubt in my mind that this time the constitutional review would see some work done before President Mahama ends his second and last term. President Mahama is very concerned about it. I mean, the man has stated clearly that he wants to leave a legacy. Almost everybody in this country, all the political parties, have agreed that there is a need for us to change our constitution. It's more of a political document, how it can also reflect the economic desires. Some people have raised so much concern about so much power vested in the executive president. Some have talked about the issues of members of parliament also doubling as ministers of state. Some think that there's a conflict of rules. You know, some they've called for a strict separation of functions where a minister or an MP cannot be a minister. Some say that, look, they can be, but give the president a free hand, so that the law that says that he must get more than 50% of his ministers from parliament must be taken away, so that the president can even decide to do 100% from parliament. Some say no, just leave it, that the president ministers should not be MPs. Those issues have come up, issues of Supreme Court judges. I have read some of the findings that were made by the 2010 commission, Supreme Court judges. I mean, of the last regime were obviously packing the Supreme Court, and there has been this argument, and that was well captured in the findings of the 2010 commission, that looks, let us cap the number of Supreme Court judges to 15 and nothing beyond that. We don't even know. Look, there are still questions that we need to answer. Now, you and I know that when a sitting member of parliament crosses carpet, what we say cross carpet, as in leaving the party that brought him to parliament to another party, the law says that he would automatically forfeiture.
Automatically vacates his
seat.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if the president or the vice president also decides to leave the party that brought him to office? That one, the constitution is silent about it. There are even some internal inconsistencies. For instance, when you look at the appointment of the Common Fund Administrator, for instance, in one article, I think somewhere Article 70, they say the president would appoint a Common Fund Administrator prior to the approval of a parliament. You go to 252, they don't talk about a parliament. They say the president would appoint the fund administrator in consultation with the Council of State. So there are even some internal inconsistencies in the document. But I think that this is a very fine opportunity. President Mahama has all the numbers in Parliament to be able to deal with the non-entrenched clauses. Because the difficulty would have been, for instance, that if we didn't have 2/3 in Parliament, maybe you would walk into Parliament with an amendment of a non-entrenched. You are not going to be too sure whether the other side would support it. But as we speak today, at least for the first time in the history of this Fourth Republic, President Mahama has a comfortable majority in Parliament, to more than 2/3 of members of Parliament. So I don't think that once the recommendations come, there will be any difficulty in quickly dealing with the non-entrenched clauses of the Constitution.
I mean, but would that be the first time that we've seen a Parliament which, a government having the full complement? I think the first, election, the 92 elections, when the MPP boycotted.
That one was a one-sided parliament.
They were the whole...
No, that one was a one-sided parliament.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the issue of constitutional amendments had not come up because the Constitution was virtually a year old, because the Constitution was came into being on 7th of January 1993. And so there was nothing like constitutional review.
So you are talking about it in terms of where there is a constitutional review that perhaps will need to be implemented.
I don't want us to shift the focus of the discussion to whether this is the first time that a party has a supermajority in Parliament or not. But the fact remains that the first Parliament of the Fourth Republic was virtually one-sided.
Yeah, it was one-sided.
Yes, you remember the likes of the late Howard Yakubu and Co. Yes, these were dissenting voices in Parliament, but they didn't come as a political party, as in the MPP.
Yes.
And so it was virtually a one-sided parliament. But I'm saying that right from that time up to now, we haven't had a parliament with this current composition where a party can boast of at a minimum 2/3 of members of Parliament. I say so not just to boast of the numbers, but to tell you that we would have no difficulty, would have no excuse to deal quickly with the non-entrenched ones. That even if the other side fails to come, to the extent that the Ghanaian public agree that we need these changes, once the current committee headed by Professor Kwesi Prempeh, affirms that these ones needs to be amended and they are non-entrenched, yes, we would seek to bring our brothers on the other side on board, but in the unlikely event that they decide to stay off, we can still proceed with the numbers that we have. There are some aspects of the Constitution that would actually would need to change. You can understand at that time when President Rawlings was transiting into a democratic regime, some of the provisions would have been done just to be able to deal with the exigencies of the time. But now, I mean, Ghana, we are well cemented as a democratic state. Look, even some of the independent state institutions, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, National Commission on Civic Education, it is the thinking that all these heads, yes, must be appointed by the president, but they should be subject to approval by Parliament. Currently, as it stands, that is not the case. So a lot of good thoughts have gone into the work of the commission. Let's see how it will proceed. I just hope and pray that we will not take a partisan approach to this issue. I expect the two major parties at least to agree on how we can proceed with this matter.
Nana Fredia, let me bring you in. You believe that this is an important, committee that the president has set up, considering the fact that there are many who are of the opinion that the Constitution needs some tweaking to make it better to suit our times?
Well, it's a good thing that it's up for discussion. I think that it's something that people have agitated for over time. The terms of reference, some I don't understand, and so I raise the question. So, for example, what do they mean by the gaps? You know, in what? I don't understand that. What gaps? There was a Constitutional Review Committee. They brought up their findings. So what gaps are we talking about?
I mean, when the last Constitutional Review Committee, when the implementations were about to be made, like Honorable mentioned, there was someone who went to court because they disagreed with certain portions of the work.
That's not a gap.
That had been done.
That's not a gap.
Which stalled the entire process. So. Yeah. If there are any issues or gaps in that regard, perhaps the committee should look at it so that everybody else is satisfied. If anybody else has any opinion or any reason why a particular amendment should be made or a particular amendment should not be made, I mean, all of those issues should be really fine-tuned. I think essentially that is probably
I wouldn't describe those as gaps. And then somebody taking the matter to court is not a gap, and it's actually a positive. So I don't see how that works. But the need to kickstart this and get going is a good idea. I also wonder why the justice amongst them is not the one who's chairing the committee. I don't know what that means. They haven't given us a background of all the people and why they've been chosen. It's very important that we know. They haven't talked about that. I think it would be good to do that. You don't assume that your choices should sit well in something that should be a consensus-building platform. So that would be important. My brother talks about, there was quite a few contradictions in some of his comment. So, for example, he talks about the fact that it's good that there's a 2/3 majority, to the point where he says it's the first one, and then he corrected him because that's what he said. He did say that is the first time, and it's not true. In '92, it was all NDC except for Hawa Yakubu. So that was massive, and it is.
But there was no MPP side.
No.
Yeah, there was no MPP.
So it was
side
all.
At all.
That's what I'm
this
saying.
time around, there's NDC and MPP, but the NDC has an overwhelming majority.
I don't know
that's the distinction.
I don't know what your concern is, because the fact is that was like 99% NDC. That's the fact. So it's nothing to do with that. The issue is this. And then, in pointing out his contradiction, then he turns around and says that all parties, it would be good for all parties to build a consensus. You're happy that you have 2/3 majority, which means that you want to dictate how things go. That's what it means. It does not mean you want to build consensus. It means you want the Constitution, when it's reviewed and changed or amended, should be an NDC-favored Constitution. That's when you make that comment, that's what it means. So how do you now say that you want everybody to be a part of it? That's not the truth. Now, the Constitution itself has quite a few things. Unlike him, I haven't read what the review offered. I haven't read it, so I don't know what they propose. But I have a few places that I find interesting. So, for example, the power of the executive, the presidency, I think that should be looked at. I think that this matter that he raised, for example, about parliamentarian switching parties, I don't think that switching a party should necessarily have the parliamentarian leave the seat. Here's my rationale. The person comes on their credibility and then goes to the political party to seek their endorsement to run. The people, when they're voting, do not always think about the political party. They look at the person. That's why you get a skirt and blouse. That's the point. So somebody could be in the wrong party, but gets a lot of votes and probably even wins the seat because it's the person. In the last parliament, 137, who made NPP side the majority? Somebody who was not NPP at the time that they went to. Yeah. So for me, the person, and you see, that's the socio-cultural aspect of things. That's the politics. The economics is going to run a by-election. Unnecessary. The people already spoke. It's unnecessary. So and people take advantage of that and do all kinds of things. So by the time you're done, a basic election, by-election becomes something else. You'll have a president going to the constituency, vice president, and it's happened across the board. So it's an unnecessary cost, tension, whatever, for the country. So if the person switches parties, that's it. Leave them in their seat. Let them finish the term. I don't find that an important thing. Ultimately, it's about the people. So we need to do that. You might find a few other things. I have, for example, the appointments to government. I think it should be left to be flexible. You have good material in Parliament at any given time. You have good material in the public at any given time. Leave the hand of the president to run government. The ultimate important thing is for the country to be governed properly. So this selective thing and trying to satisfy political interests and all of that should be reduced in burden for the president when they're making their choices. I think that's important. I think where the issues are, again, to do with economics. Why are ministers getting all these perks? Why? Why are they getting all those perks? For what?
Servants of the state.
No.
Servants of the people.
No. It does not mean they deserve those perks.
I mean, not only ministers.
In countries where they have more wealth, in other words, their economies are stronger, blah, blah, blah. They don't go away with all these funny things that these people go away with. It's ridiculous. And that's why you'll have a politician gets a contract, a state contract, and in there somewhere there are cars. It's not only the politicians, so the civil servants do the same. And then they'll take the car, park it somewhere, and then when they're going, it's gone, and they sell it to themselves for cheap. Lantam, you know I've been on this for a while. You know it's always been an issue for me. It's not about NDC being in office. It's nothing to do with that. These are the things that damage us. It is why we have the kind of politics we have, because people want to kiss up so that they can get those things.
What do you make of the explanation that we want public servants to be comfortable enough not to be tempted to steal from the state or to engage in any acts of corruption and to just be focused on the work that has been given to them? And because of that, we compensate you adequately.
No.
The state takes care of your accommodation, takes care of your fuel, takes care of your movement and everything, so that you just have the peace of mind to do the work that you need to do. That's sort of the rationale behind giving them those perks, so that they can perform and perform well.
There's a simple answer. Pay them well. Pay them well. Don't give them perks. Pay them well. And in exchange, they should work. We don't go to them. You see, as the Honorable, he hasn't held a ministerial position yet. He might hold one. You never know. But he knows this for a fact. I know it for a fact. The civil servants are a problem. When NDC was in office in Mr. Mohammed's earlier term, they complained about it. The NPP people complain about it. But somehow we're not able to sit together to see that this is a war that must be fought together. Because at any given point in time, personal interests come to play. The national interest gets lost. And that's a problem. When you're a civil public servant, your responsibility is to make the machine of government run well, and that the state sits comfortable. In exchange, you should be paid well. You should not come into office hoping that they'll move you into a bungalow. That was a colonial relic. It is costly. They'll move you into a bungalow, big land, blah, blah, blah. Before you realize, then they are trying to acquire the land for themselves. Then they will encourage the politicians to buy some. And then the rest of us sit around and say, hey, well, the politicians buying it. Meanwhile, the civil servants too took some.
Well, this administration has said they want to introduce, a bill that would make it impossible for any government appointee to buy any state asset.
There is no need for a bill. Just don't do it. Make it an ethical matter. Let's make it an ethical matter.
Yeah.
And that's when their oral thing comes to play. Irrelevant, unnecessary. They are all as guilty as they come. So the thing is, to moving forward, let's establish a convention. If eventually it requires a bill, that's fine. But I don't think your starting point is that. Your starting point is the ethical stand of knowing that you do not take public property and shelve it for yourself. That's the first thing. We don't put a value, a standard to those things. So when people leave office and those people are honest and straightforward, the saying is that, oh, this man went into government, they didn't take away anything, they didn't give him anything and all of that. What does that imply? It implies that you, the one saying that, making that statement, you are encouraging corruption. So somebody going in there doesn't want to be pointed out as a fool and acquires something, and then when it becomes a topic, suddenly that person is a bad person. But you encouraged it. Double standards from the public and from politicians. So we need to be very clear about these things as far as I'm concerned. So if some of these things don't have to be written, they should be convention. Other things that have been written should be relooked at, and I think that's what this is all about. So if we go back to the original thing, ministerial positions, for example, I don't think need to be they don't need to be limited
to choosing more than half of the ministers from parliament.
So somebody aspires to be, you see, and then they have those,
so people aspire to be MPs because they want to be ministers,
and then somebody loses a vote because when in the previous term they didn't get minister, the constituents are upset. I mean, I don't get that. We're not supposed to be nurturing a constituency of people, of Ghanaian voters, whose desire is to see their native or their whoever who comes from their constituency in parliament aspire to be a minister. That shouldn't be the aspiration. The aspiration should be that they're going to represent you and bring you what your constituency deserves. So those should be the aspirations. Minister Krawe, that should not be a discussion. It shouldn't be. It's the value that the person brings to the table for your constituency. That's what should be interesting. So we need to do and have laws and whatever's regulations, things that will make it demanding on people when they go there to serve. Not when they go there to be just seen, but to serve and serve the public. And so I'm hoping that these things work. It'll be, like I said, it will be good as far as I'm concerned if these personalities who've been picked, the rationale for picking them would be clear. Apart from the justice, Madam Adinyira, what is making these choices? I know a few of the people mentioned, not personally.
I mean, people are saying
one or two personally,
for example, is a good choice that has been made by the president.
As you notice, I haven't condemned any choice. I'm saying that it is their rationale for choosing them is what I think should be told to those of us who'd like to know. Make it a public thing so that people appreciate why you chose the people you chose. I mean, I know Professor Kari, I know H. Prempe, I know who?
Professor Adinyira.
Tanko. I don't know Professor Justice Adinyira, but I know of her. But it's not about Nana Fredia, it's about putting out so that people understand what's going on, and then they can appreciate. Because if I put a political twist to it, and I take what my brother just said about having 2/3 and therefore translating that to mean that he's happy that NDC is going to dictate the pace, then it tells me that even this one is probably biased in their favor. But that's not what it's supposed to be. And the personalities I know, the ones I know, tells me that it is not necessarily the case. But you want the public to be able to appreciate this so that they can understand it maybe the way I do. Otherwise, it is very easy to put a political twist on this matter.
Yeah. Lantam, I just want to start from where Nana just ended. I don't know why Nana is equating to thirds majority in parliament.
Because you said it, otherwise it wouldn't be an issue for me.
No, I don't
you said it.
Where you equate to thirds majority to dictatorship. I'm not saying that the NDC has 2/3. That's the fact on the ground. Just walk to parliament and take a roll call. And so to even say that I am saying that you have 2/3, I don't know where it's coming from.
You said it.
I'm making a point here. So just be rest assured that there's nothing like dictatorship. I'm urging on the other side of parliament to come on board. But I'm saying that for the non-entrenched clauses, the constitution requires 2/3 of parliament to amend them. And that the NDC and President Mahama has the 2/3.
You see why I said
and
what
that
I said.
In the unlikely event that the other side don't come through, President Mahama will not have an excuse because he has 2/3 in parliament. How does that amount to dictatorship?
It does.
How does that amount to dictatorship? Now,
I think probably it's because of the notion that, because you have a 2/3 majority, anything you want to push through, even if the other side raises concerns and you don't believe in the concerns that they raise, you can use your 2/3 majority to pass it. So that makes it, a one-sided interest of the NDC, interest of President Mahama thing to push through.
Don't think alongside Nanao. Don't think like that.
That is the assertion that is made. That's the concern that is being raised.
Lantam, take it easy.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that in a democracy, the minority would always have.
He's making his case worse.
Their say, and the majority will have their way.
What I'm saying is this: that the constitution that we subscribe to, says that to amend a constitutional provision that is non-entrenched, you need 2/3.
That is correct.
I am also saying that the NDC and President Mahama has the 2/3 in parliament. I have added that we will need our colleagues on the other side to come on board for us to go through that transition, that amendment process. And I've added that in the unlikely event that they don't come on board, we in the NDC would have no excuse to the Ghanaian people because they gave us the 2/3 for a reason. How is this a dictatorship? But I will not go and major in the minor. The substance of the issue here is that President Mahama and the NDC would have no excuse not to see Ghana through a constitutional amendment process, something that we've all committed ourselves to. Finito. Now, Nana is talking about President Mahama should rationalize, should explain to the Ghanaian people why he has chosen Mr. A and Madam B. What would that serve? Do you have questions about those individuals? If you think that the chairman is a lawyer in good standing, an expert in constitutional law, there are people, Professor Karikari, a professor in mass communication and journalism.
So what about for the benefit of those who don't know?
Their profiles have been released. How does President Mahama come to justify that I have chosen this person because of ABCD? Their profiles are known. They've released their profiles. And so the idea of President Mahama...
By the media, but it didn't come from the presidency. Their names just came from the presidency. So is that like, the profiles that we have out there,
so is that like President
media practitioners who know these individuals and have put their profiles out there?
The chief of staff or secretary to president, and you say he should come and justify why he has...
Those are political.
Please,
but this is a constitutional review.
Do you question the credibility, the competence of any of them?
Apolitical.
No, I do not. Do you have questions about the credibility, the competence of any of them?
Absolutely not.
These are individuals that we all know. And so if you have a question about one or two of them, you can raise them. But to ask that we should offer explanations to why Mr. A or Madam B is chosen, for me, is needless. Now, Nana is talking about perks for people in government, and how they even assume staff bungalows with large land size. I don't know if Nana would have spoken this way, or if he did so in the last 8 years of Akufo-Addo. Today, people are getting worried about the perks that is associated.
Well, in his defense, these are issues that he has always been consistent on.
In the last
at least anytime he has appeared on his defense. To be fair to him, that's what I'm telling you.
8 years.
That's what I'm telling you. At least
would he have spoken that same manner?
At least that's what I'm. Honorable. Let me just chip this in, just to be fair to him. At least I host the show, and anytime that he has been on the show, and issues of people enjoying the largesse of the state and whatever coming, he's been very consistent on his position. So let me just put that.
That is what you can bear witness to. I'll leave it at that. But I'm just saying that we must be consistent in our national discourse. Right. The inconsistency doesn't help matters. Now, for when public officials, be they public or civil servants or the political class, engage in corruption. Yes, there is some corruption that is induced by need. I have read a book that was written by the former minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, on corruption in public service. I think he published that book somewhere 2002, 2004, I'm not too sure again, where he talks about corruption that is induced by need and corruption that is induced by greed. We must be interested in punishing more greed-induced corruption. Now, today, you go to our prisons and you see people are jailed for 10 years just for stealing a yam or a tuber of yam or a finger of banana, and they are in jail for 5 years. You have politically exposed people who steal public resources in broad daylight, and people come to sit on television to justify those acts of corruption. We saw a lot of that in the last 8 years, where people were virtually engaged in open thievery and trust President Mahama.
Allegedly.
Oh, wow, some of them were very glaring. Trust President Mahama that if any of his appointees engages himself in some of the activities that we witnessed in the last 8 years, that appointee would laugh at the wrong side of his mouth. President Mahama wants to be a legacy president. He's a man who has fought corruption even within his own government. And I can give you a plethora of examples in his first term as president, when people were sacked from their offices, people were prosecuted, and some were even jailed, people who were part of his government. You see, fighting corruption is very easy when you are dealing with the other side, though. To be able to go after your opponents in the name of fighting corruption is very easy. But it is more challenging, and that is where your fight against corruption can be tested, is when you begin to fight corruption in-house. So when we talk about when we talk about fighting corruption, be rest assured that it is not just targeted at the officials of the former government. If an appointee of President Mahama goes to buy a public land, acquire a public asset, engages in corruption, be rest assured that President Mahama would bite and bite hard. That one can be rest assured. He says he wants to be a legacy president. Ghanaians have given him a second term. This is a rare opportunity, an opportunity that is rare. Not everybody in life can get that having been president for 4 years, went back home for 8 years and sat at home and observed how things have run. And the Ghanaian people gave him such overwhelming majority in parliament, almost 60% of the popular votes. President Mahama cannot take it for granted.
Right.
He can't take it for granted, and he will not take it for granted. Be rest assured.
All right. Nana.
I think my brother is suffering from post-election victory atase syndrome.
What is that?
What
is that?
You need to explain.
Something that the term can be attributed to me proudly.
Post-election atase.
Post-election victory atase.
Thank you.
You've won the election. What's this campaign? Unless you're looking for something and you're taking advantage of GHOne to get it. All this diatribe about Mr. Mahama is unnecessary on this show at this time on this particular topic. 1, 2.
Why is it unnecessary?
What's it for?
He's a president. He's a leader.
No, what's he saying all of this for? What's the purpose?
It's because of an action that
what's
he has
that got
taken.
to do with the Constitutional Review Committee?
It's because of an action that he has taken
Listen
to set
to
up
him.
this committee.
The question again.
That is why we are discussing.
The question again.
So
who set up the committee? Who set up the committee?
It is an unnecessary. Like I said, it's a post blah 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 syndrome. Now, the details.
Post election
and for purposes of clarity, it means you have won the election. You get confused about how to use the power. That's what that.
Really?
Yes, that's what.
Interesting.
Because it was an unnecessary thing. Now here, for example, what's this thing about trying to define corruption in its different forms? What's that got to do with the price of tea on this topic? Nothing. On the matters that I was raising, I don't know why he's contesting.
Well, probably because you referenced oral, and so dealing with issues of corruption.
It was mentioned.
And public officials,
it was mentioned once, and passed, and it was not the substance of talk about majoring in minors. Now, and I like that phrase, by the way. I liked it. That's why I was actually trying to find another one to come to. Now, here's the real.
Yes. So you mentioned once.
Once. So I don't see how that becomes. That minor becomes the major, and then he tells you that he's not majoring in the minors, and then spends about 3 minutes on the minors. Now, here's the thing, Lantam. First of all, the challenge that I put on the table, based on his comment about 2/3, he has just now justified my. Otherwise, it wasn't a fear, but now fear. That they want to dictate and impose.
How so?
What was all this he said? He reinforced the point he made in the first place, which is because they have a 2/3, if for any reason the minority don't agree with them on something, they can still pass through what they choose.
Unfortunate event.
And then, why would you even classify it as unfortunate? If you understand the process to be a situation where...
I know you very well. You understand I know you very well. You understand
Honorable, please. Yes, allow Nana to make it.
You made your point. I
Please,
pushed you here in Desmos, then I kept quiet, and I formulated my new disease with a new name and everything. And then when it came, I came high. And then I've defined it. So now it has a dictionary position.
We'll quote you on it.
Yes, and it's a dictionary position, so you can put it at least in the GHOne dictionary, and then one day maybe I'll become great for having come up with it. So please, let me finish. Listen, this constitutional review thing, what is one of its key TORs, terms of reference? To call the public and get opinions from it. Not so.
Yes.
I'm sitting here as Joe Public, giving my opinion. You standing here on behalf of your party, obviously, and trying to be the president's man, saying that you'd rather have the majority say. So then what is my opinion for? What is this committee coming to do? And therefore, it raises questions even about...
Is it your opinion as a member of the NPP or your opinion as a member of the public?
Oh, as a member of the public. And I've stated that
you are on the ticket of the NPP or to represent the NPP also.
And I've stated that very clearly. And you have supported me on that point, that I am on this matter and a citizen of Ghana. You yourself endorsed it because he challenged it and you told him that it is true.
On this matter you did?
In the times that the NPP was in office, I raised this matter.
This wasn't the matter.
So you've confirmed that I am raising it as a citizen of Ghana.
Why are you quiet?
What is your problem? Tell us.
Why are you quiet?
I'll give you some of my time to tell us what your problem is. Because what you said was that you said I did not say it in NPP's time in office. And Lantam, the host of this program,
who was on the issues of
who was very
public
clear,
officials
it's
having
the same point,
and all of that, which I say you've been consistent on.
And he wants to insist that what you said is not true.
It wasn't on 2/3 and majority.
It is on the constitutional review. I raised those things regarding the constitutional review. No, it's not.
Testified
the issue on the table.
I expected you to come.
The issue on the table.
Honorable, the issue. I think the issue is clear. I think what I said.
The issue on the table is a constitutional review. Matters arising from the issue includes certain choices, and I'm saying one of those things may not be in the Constitution, but it's a spin-off from that. It's the perks that ministers get, the perks that MPs get, the kind of power and authority and all. We need to look at those things so that there's a fluency. He worries about it because he thinks I'm saying it now that NPP is not in office. And you corrected him. And your records will prove you right. He just doesn't want to hear it because it doesn't sit well in his mind. And I'm saying that the total...
Well, I think, but even on that, I think the issue, yes, you've been consistent on it, but, you know, even the issue that this oral committee that has been set up by John Mahama is dealing with and all of that has also been with members of your party who have bought...
When you bring the oral...
And
you think that NDC hasn't bought state lands?
Of course, there are people in the NDC who
you see, let us stop... Lantam, and when he was talking, he then now goes to Akufo-Addo's regime. He conveniently does not go into the NDC regime. Now, let us talk, if you want us to go into that space. This matter of public lands or lands being taken for politicians, it is not an NPP thing. In fact, it's not even an NDC thing, I must say painfully, for their benefit.
Why painfully?
Because they don't deserve to be defended by me if this is the attitude he's going to take on a matter of constitutional review. They don't deserve, if this is the attitude, then they don't deserve
but you said clearly that it's not an NDC
it
thing
is
or
not.
an
It is a
thing.
When you go to Kanda, Ringway Estates, Nyaniba Estates, where do you think all of that started from? Go to the President Kufuor's equivalent of a truth commission, a reconciliation.
Yeah.
When people came in the name of the Nkrumah regime, they were claiming property that was given to them from where? So there's a fundamental, that's why for me, oral is irrelevant. It doesn't solve our problem. So you need all of those things. When you're doing these things, you need to have that thing.
Right.
Now, when he's arguing, so ultimately, he sought to intervene because he wanted to justify his position over mine. I'm saying that the rationale for choosing those people is important. And again, your intervention was apt because it is not a political appointment in the sense of a chief of staff or a minister. This one, you want to build consensus because the constitution is the law for all Ghanaians.
But do we not know who these individuals are? I mean,
do we?
Do we not? Do we not?
Do you know?
I mean, is the competence of any of the individuals who have been appointed, regardless of whether or not the president has justified why he put them
was that
there?
A challenge in my comment?
The competence,
was that a challenge in
no,
my
it was not.
No,
but
I said it.
I think there's a general consensus from the public that this is a good team.
No. Don't assume that. You don't have a survey. You don't have anything to prove that.
I mean, from the unscientific, sources
you don't have any of that. You've only spoken to
mainstream media, people who have been interviewed in the media and all of that seem to agree that this is a solid team.
No. Lantam, I'm arguing to you that for the public to benefit, sometimes it isn't about the politicians, our opinions. It's about letting the records show that this decision was taken truly, in-depthly, in the interest of the public. And one of the ways to do that is to rationalize why you've chosen those people. It's as simple as that. Their competence is not in question. I never questioned it. I actually went ahead to tell you the people I know and the people I know about. Yeah. So it is not about their competence. And notice that I said that the caveat I put on the politics was based on his comment. I said, if we go with his comment about having 2/3 and not finding an opinion of anybody from the minority to be, quote, unfortunate, that begins to dictate the pace of what should happen. Therefore, it begins to raise questions about, are you saying that these people, therefore, are there to serve your purpose? That's what I said. If it's not understood, maybe he doesn't understand it, but at least I believe you're listening and watching public do. It is clear that it will be good. And it is not about, again, I'm repeating, is not about their credibility. It is about our understanding as the public on the rationale for choosing them.
All right.
It's as simple as that.
All right.
So for me, constitutional review, great idea. It's something that people have talked about for years.
Okay.
And so if we're getting to the point of actualization, it's a good thing.
All right.
And we should proceed.
All right. Let's move on to our next issue, which is this issue at Obuasi, where miners and military have clashed, and according to reports, some 7. Some other reports also say 8 lives have been claimed. These 8 lives are members of the Obuasi community who went into the mines of AngloGold Ashanti, and according to the account of the military and AngloGold, they went in there with pump action guns, machetes, and other, weapons, and they were attempting to go deep into the mine, which belongs to AngloGold Ashanti, which we understand AngloGold Ashanti doesn't use anymore. But of course, there was protection, and they engaged in firefights essentially with the military, and in the military returning fire, shot and killed 7 or 8 people, depending on where the reports are coming from. And this is something that, of course, AGA has issued a statement, the military has issued a statement, the presidency has issued a statement. Honorable, I come back to you on this particular subject matter, this unfortunate incident. From where you sit, would there be any justification for what happened, where the military had to eventually end up killing 8 people?
Very unfortunate development, as you rightly described it. And even before I proceed, I would want to express my sincere condolence to the bereaved families, whether 7 individuals or 8. Even a life lost in a manner that we are being told is regrettable. And so my sincere condolence to the families of those who lost their lives. This calls for a broader conversation on how we can tap into our natural resources for national development. The issue of illegal mining has been with us for a very long time. In the last 8 years of Mr. Akufo-Addo, we have dealt largely with the problem of mining in our water bodies and forest reserves. So the conversation in the last 8 years of Mr. Akufo-Addo was how illegal miners, with some complicity of government officials, were mining in our water bodies and forest reserves, putting all of us into danger. But the other perspective that is emerging strongly is where legal concessions of large-scale mining companies are invaded by illegal miners. This is not the first time. I think somewhere in even this year, around 5th of January this year also, a similar thing happened somewhere around Talensi. It happened somewhere in November last year. About 3 cases were reported in 2023. And so just as we are dealing with illegal mining around our water bodies and forest reserves, we must also be dealing with the security threats because of the invasion of these concessions of large-scale mining companies. Because yes, these companies have spent a lot of resources to explore those areas and have acquired them illegally. So there must be some protection of those areas. We must also be interested in how the Ghanaian young people can also have the benefit of the resources that we are naturally endowed with. So we must find a way of working the balance of preserving the interests of foreign or local investments in that area, and also allowing our young people to have a bite at what we have been endowed naturally. Issue of unemployment is the bedrock of all these issues. But to speak specifically to this matter, in the last 24 hours, about 4 different statements have been issued. The first one came from the Ghana Armed Forces. Then the presidency issued a statement. Then was followed by a statement from AngloGold Ghana and then organized labor. There seem to be some inconsistencies in at least statements from AngloGold and the Ghana Armed Forces. And so what the president has done is to put up, I think, a 5-member committee to investigate fully into the matter and report to the presidency for action to be taken. President Mahama has indicated that when they do the investigations, whoever is found culpable would be dealt with in accordance with law. He has acted swiftly. Let us wait and see what the report will contain and how government will proceed with it. Now, my worry is that even the letter from organized labor is telling President Mahama, they are giving President Mahama a 2-week ultimatum to ban small-scale mining. Small-scale mining. Organized labor, respectfully. President Mahama is less than 2 weeks in office. And for you to call on him to ban completely small-scale mining, both legal and illegal, I think it is unfair and giving ultimatums. The last time I heard about organized labor was on the issue of mining around our water bodies, when it was very clear.
Water bodies, forest reserves. And they were talking
that government officials were deeply involved. Everybody in this country, the opposition party, parliament, civil society organizations, the clergy, House of Chiefs, everybody complained. And the then government wouldn't listen. Organized labor came through with a threat of a sit-down strike.
Yeah.
And we all thought
they wanted a certain law to also be revoked.
To be revoked.
Yes.
And we all thought that, look, organized labor was actually coming to save all of us. Lantam, you know what happened at the end of the day? The trust of the Ghanaian people was betrayed. They should let us go back into archives. The trust, the hopes of the people were betrayed. We know organized labor. Look at the issue. They can become the conscience of this country. They have that potential. Look at the issue of the sale of the hotels.
Yeah.
Organized labor had representation on the board of Senate. They never brought that issue up until the member of parliament for North Tongue, Honorable Okujita Blackwell, brought the matter up, and that saved all of us.
But organized labor was very instrumental in that.
That was after the MP
backed out of that deal.
Oh, that was after the MP brought the matter and stood his grounds. If the MP had not brought it to the public domain, if that didn't become a topical issue, would organized labor have reported to us? And so, organized labor, you are representing Ghanaians. We trust you. And you must uphold that trust in high esteem. A government that is less than 2 weeks, yes, regrettable as it is, you are giving ultimatums to a government that is less than 2 weeks. I think that is not fair. I don't think that is fair.
But will it not be in line with some of the things that the NDC has said they will do, that when they come into office, with regard to illegal mining, because it's one of the major issues.
So the NDC said,
running up to the campaign.
The NDC said they will stop.
You will deal with illegal
mining. So the NDC said they will stop small-scale mining, either legal or illegal. Was what the NDC said.
It said you deal with illegal mining.
Exactly. As for illegal mining, our stance on it is very firm. We cannot shift the goalpost. We will not, because it threatens the lives of everybody. How on earth, if the report by the military is anything to go by, why would young men arm themselves and invade the concession of a company? Now, the account from the young men in the Obuasi town gives a contrary evidence to what we are being told.
Yeah.
that they were even on their knees.
Yeah,
they were begging.
Some of them were running.
They were running. They were shot from their backs.
Yeah.
To be able to establish the truth. And they must, what I hear the police say, or the security experts talk about, is that when there's a confrontation, they are required to use minimal and reasonable force. In this case, they said later.
But these are military. I mean, military are trained differently from the police. You know, military.
Are you saying that the military who are recruited,
police usually will use minimal force?
We shouldn't make that excuse.
Proportionate force.
We shouldn't make that excuse. That the military that are recruited, trained, uniformed, and paid by the taxpayer, they are only trained to shoot to kill in instances like this. I think that there must be some engagement of some sort. Yes, we respect our military officers. They do a lot for this country. But we also think that some of the lives that we lose through their actions and inactions. Look, election violence. Almost all the killings that we have recorded in 2020 and 2024 were linked up to the Ghana Armed Forces. I'm sure they can do better. But for us to establish the truth involved in this matter, let's wait for the report to come and let the president deal with it decisively.
Right.
We will not shield anybody found guilty in this situation. This is not the first time it has happened, but at least this is the first time that I know that within some 12 hours or even less than 12 hours, a president has issued a directive for full-scale investigations to be conducted, and that he would implement the report to its fullest. Like I said, a government would try to work that balance between protecting the rights, the interests, the investments of multinationals and even locals who venture into that space. But we also think that Ghanaians legitimately should have an opportunity to also tap into the natural resources of this country. That's important.
Right. Nana Fredia, what will your comments be on this unfortunate incident that has happened?
Very sad, and there's rationale for it that people will not want to hear. And the burden is on them, Mr. Mohammed and the NDC. There's rationale for it. It's very unfortunate that human beings have been lost. Yeah. But the reality is that they were thieves, stealing state national resources. How are we planning to deal with it, and is this how to go about it? And when Labour is now raising the question, today Labour is the enemy? Suddenly, when I say getting fat suddenly, it's not for nothing. Suddenly, Labour is the enemy because they've raised an opinion. Opinions are in danger now. If you have one, it will be considered unfortunate, quote unquote. If you have an opinion against what's going on, it will be considered unfortunate in the coming days.
I'm saying a government which is barely 2 weeks in power is being called upon
government
to ban illegal mining.
And you see,
both
anybody who doesn't
ban illegal, any form of small-scale mining, both legal and illegal. I mean, that's as far-reaching. And should Labour be calling on government to do that at this point?
It is not a position that's new to them. And government is a continuum. In the eyes of certain entities like Labour, government it may not be a continuum for people in the political party, but for Labour it is. That is why when one contract negotiation starts in one government and a new government comes, they say in the previous government, then they'll quote and say, therefore, this is what we asked for, we want you to do it. Because government is a continuum. So they've done nothing wrong when they tell you that they've given you a timeline, because you knew coming into office their position. And there are certain activities on the ground, not everything has been reported. This is Obuasi. He even referred to a few other ones. Not everything is on the ground. A lot of illegal miners are going back to work because they believe that it's time. They believe that their time has come, because the government of the day is supportive of their actions. They say one thing on one side of their mouths and then do another with the other side of their mouths. The evidence is in the everlasting recording of what's his name, Kokubuahin and Dr. Obin. telling people that when their government comes, they'll be allowed to just scatter the earth. It is there. The government...
We are quiet as a host.
He's not supposed to speak. I haven't finished my submission. If he wanted to speak, he would. It is in his authority. It isn't for you to tell him. You see what I'm talking about, this oppressive nature.
You see I'm interjecting.
The oppressive nature. But that's what you just did.
Just finish your point.
So the point is
that they never said so. Don't put words into their mouth.
Whose mouth?
That Kweku Boahen.
That's for you to worry about.
And Obin never said
it
what.
Is a recording.
Said.
It's not true.
It's not true.
So
it's not true.
The issue on the table is, where is this authority coming from where people are suddenly prepared to do their illegal activities and justified in the open? Why? I remember in his opening comments he listed the kinds of things that are happening. They haven't addressed any of the hooliganism and vandalism going on. It hasn't been addressed forcefully. Empowering the police. They've disenfranchised the police in their actions by certain things that they are doing. They disenfranchise. I call the police officers.
It's not being condoned. Are you saying what the NDC supporters going on rampage is an issue that has not been addressed? Is that what
forcefully? No, it hasn't been addressed.
Because I mean, we've heard the president on about 2 occasions.
And what did he say
on this matter?
What did he say?
I mean, the last I heard the president on it,
that hasn't made an impact.
Had called on the party chairman, party executives in constituencies and regions
to rein
supporters in and call supporters to order.
And
has asked the police to step in when it is necessary. And we know that the police has arrested some people.
So why hasn't it slowed down? Why have we gotten to this point? Why?
What's happening in Obuasi?
Yes.
Well, what's happening in Obuasi, we don't know if they are NDC people or
not. They are not related.
I mean,
no, I didn't refer to only NDC people. I said hooliganism and the things that NDC act.
Yeah, you said hooliganism.
And I also referred to
NDC people.
I also referred to the illegal.
Obuasi, we don't know.
I also referred to illegal miners who are not necessarily NDC people alone. Yes. So when I referred to illegal miners, what was I talking about? And there are other actions going on. Scrap people.
But I just want to make sure that we're not
that the scrap people have threatened to go back to spaces they are not supposed to. You know that, right? You know that. Scrap people, those who are not licensed, and they do their wares in illegal spaces.
Yes.
They've threatened to go back to their spaces. Nothing has been done about it. You know that, right? Yes, it's been reported.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all of this is going on. It comes from somewhere. There's a motivation from somebody. Some of these people who invaded offices and things, they went in trucks. Trucks they cannot own on their own, you can tell. You can read somebody by their actions. So where did they get it from? To go and do the things that they do. So when you now do this, now let's get to some of the other areas too. I haven't read the one on labor, but I've read the one from the presidency, from the armed forces, and from AG, AngloGold Ashanti. There's no inconsistency. That's the word he chose to use. There's no inconsistency between AngloGold and the armed forces. There's no inconsistency. They reported the same thing, the exact same thing they reported. Even the president did not counter what had been reported. They said it will be investigated.
Yeah.
So I don't see where we're trying to go with this thing and trying to make it look like something untoward does happen from somewhere. It's an illegal act. The people are stealing from the nation. Now, there's something wrong with the president's statement, actually.
What is wrong with it?
The portion that's wrong is asking AngloGold Ashanti to take care of funeral costs. Who does that? If a thief breaks into his house and he shoots the thief, will he be told to pay the cost of that?
And where in the statement of President Mohammed did talk about funeral?
Then you didn't read
the statement talked about taking care of the
please
of treatment.
So what are you
please,
and also taking up and I think we have the statement. We can put up the statement. I think the
they're
director
talking about medical expenses and burial.
Who does that?
And burial.
Who does that?
Medical expenses. No, admit that you got it wrong.
You're talking about a business
medical expenses and burial, and not funeral.
What's all that? You think those things are not funeral?
Hey, how does medical expenses translate to
burial has nothing to do with
funeral expenses? Nana?
I guess he wants to major in the minors.
As for this, I think they go hand in hand, but they can be separated.
Yes, and
depending on how you look at it.
Yes, and that's can go hand in hand majoring in the minors.
So he talks about medical expenses and burial.
Yes.
Why should but not funeral? You know, you can do a burial. Let's say the grave.
You will never see anything good in President Mahama.
But the funeral itself is an entirely.
You will never see anything good in President Mahama.
Very good. So
he's studying hard to poo the state from President Mahama.
Why should
I understand
he
your struggle.
Telling that to AngloGold Ashanti? Why?
And that's the statement from the presidency, that you say there.
Was meanwhile asked the management of AngloGold to bear the medical expenses of injured fully and to facilitate the burial arrangements of those. When you facilitate, what does that end up in?
Is that a funeral? Is that a funeral?
You see, but you want to major in the minors.
Is that a funeral?
The point is this.
You proceed.
How does government ask an investor whose property, whose acquisition has been invaded by thieves that they should pay for it?
We are being conclusive on this matter. We are being conclusive.
How does that happen?
8 Ghanaians have been killed.
Who does that?
No, this is not fair.
Who does
to the
that?
families? You call them thieves.
Does that?
But Nana,
this is not fair.
There's also the
you call them
issue
thieves.
Hold on, honorable.
No.
Hold on, honorable. Hold on.
People have lost their relatives.
Honorable.
You sit on a national television and you are so conclusive in referring them as
let me address
thieves.
the issues. Hold on, let me address the issues.
This is very sensitive.
There's also the other side, right? Of course, you've heard from AngloGold, you've heard from the military. They are both, corroborating, each other's stories about what happened. But there's also the account of the community that we have not heard, right? And, the fact that it's been reported that when they went in there and they were accosted by, the military, personnel and all of that, some of them were running away. And the military were shooting at them while they were running away. Some of them were on their knees begging. And the military were shooting at them while on their knees begging. I mean, if you've accosted someone and they're on their knees begging, why do you shoot them? These are accounts that we're also getting from the other side, right? Which makes the whole thing, very fishy. Because obviously AngloGold and the military, because the military is protecting AngloGold, they will sing from the same tune. And the community will also sing from a different tune. Wouldn't it be fair that as maybe part of your corporate social responsibility, and given the fact that this has happened where you are and these are the accounts that are coming, you take up the cost of the, of the burial, take up the medical expenses and all of that, because you have a hospital there which is serving the community anyway and all of that. Is that too far-fetched?
Yes, it is.
And add that it's an abandoned site.
It is.
That's what we were being told. That site has been abandoned for a long time.
It is.
Yeah, it's been abandoned, but it still doesn't belong to the community.
I just wanted to.
They don't have any right to go there.
I agree.
That is also has to be established.
I agree with you. But I just wanted to add that
bit. It is an irrelevant point.
It's not.
And here's
it is insensitive when you heard the family this morning.
You see, you can do your populist things, and that's fine with me.
Ghanaians
As
have
for
been
me,
killed.
I'm consistent about my position.
So you rendered unemployed for several years.
As far as I'm concerned,
they killed them, and you sit on TV and say this. Hey.
Asking the entity to do that,
yes,
it's not convention in business. Go and check out anywhere in the world whether this is permissible. If it's wrong, tell me. I'll come and commit myself. It is unheard of. This is a state responsibility. It is not the private. You come and I raise the example. If a thief goes to his house and he has his license to shoot, his life is under threat, and he shoots the person and the person's dead, is he supposed to pay for the person's burial, since he's sensitive about the word funeral? Is he supposed to pay for the person's burial?
We are being conclusive.
It is totally ridiculous.
We are calling them thieves, dead people.
Once you are doing something determined as illegal, you are committing a crime. I am fit and in this case, you are taking gold from the earth that belongs to all of us, and you're doing it outside of the regulations that have been. You're stealing. You didn't ask anybody permission to take that.
And the law requires that they are killed.
You see that why did they go there with guns to shoot?
No, why are you being so conclusive?
Why are you being conclusive? You're also concluding the same. You were not there.
The president has issued a directive for investigations into
You were not there.
That's what I spoke to.
You were not there.
You are being conclusive.
You were not there.
You referred them as thieves.
You were not
there. And
there.
you are justifying the killing.
You were not there.
Because they are not your
I have not justified the killing.
You were not there. You are justifying it.
They were shot at because they shot at people.
Hey.
So they were shot at because they shot at people.
That's the account of the military.
Yes.
And AngloGold.
Yes.
But the account of the people is also different.
Were they different?
Why don't you want to take them into account?
That is why.
And that's why you must be conclusive.
Are you listening to me? Or you're
that's why you must be conclusive.
I'm just yes. That is why there's been a call for investigation. And I endorse.
Exactly.
What's the problem?
Exactly.
You're so busy trying not to hear.
Sometimes hold on. Sometimes because it's a discussion, sometimes they interject.
Why are people watching from Jubilee House?
Please
allow watching your behavior from
Jubilee House.
I'll come back to you.
Are they busy watching from Jubilee House?
Oh, it's not about Jubilee House.
You want them to see that you are talking.
I'm not that type of person.
Very clear statement.
I'm not that type of person. Trust me.
Then let me finish.
I'm not that type of person.
Because your intervention is unnecessary. Let me finish.
Please.
Stop it.
Please.
I did not condemn the call for an investigation. I raised a question about asking them to bury the people. What's your problem? The essence of that investigation will tell us whether truly some of these things that are being raised happened. Yes. So that is a matter of fact that you must be. But you don't go ahead. First of all, AngloGold is supposed to protect its property. Whatever means they use once it fits within the laws of Ghana. For them to be working with the Ghana Armed Forces tells you that they've already settled into the laws of Ghana. So everything else will come to fore. But the fact that everybody, and didn't the presidency refer to them as illegal miners? I'm checking. So that there's no sensitivity about the miners. So, therefore, their status, as far as their activity was wrong. The investigation will show. And they will get it. So you don't do those things. Let's stop trying. In his opening comments, he was trying to justify. I said that earlier. That's not the thing. You see, Ghana must mature in its constitution and the constitutional governance system. We must mature. So you don't do things because your predecessor did it and it suited them and not you, as far as you are concerned. You must do things because it's fit for Ghana. And so if your predecessor made a mistake, you don't repeat it. You don't. And you don't say that there are some here. No. You go ahead and show the maturity. Show the standard that you want to put on there that's supposed to be higher. And that's how people will judge and pass you. So the things that we do is not any come here and shouting. It's in the agronomy form. It's in the work that you want to do. And that's how we're going to look at things.
All right.
So, Lantam.
All right, Honorable. Okay, just a minute, because I need to bring someone in now, who's joining us via Zoom.
My problem with Nana Fredua this morning is that, in one breath, you agree with me that it is proper that President Mahama has ordered an investigation into the matter.
I didn't agree with you. I agreed with President Mahama. Not you. Don't take credit where you don't deserve it.
Then you go ahead to make conclusive statements referring to them as thieves and justifying the killing. Look, we also disagreed on the issue of the two statements from the Ghana Armed Forces.
Hey, the statement was just put up. The presidency refers to them as illegal miners.
I have not spoken.
It is there, right there. I
have not spoken about it.
So what is the conclusion?
The inconsistency.
What is the conclusion? I'm the one who's drawn the idea.
He's talking about the inconsistencies he refers to are inconsistencies about.
Sit down and listen.
No,
sit down and listen.
Don't give me instructions. I'm helping you. I'm not an NDC person, so you cannot tell me what to do.
Ghana Armed Forces and the statement of AngloGold Ashanti.
If you
there's no inconsistency.
So what are the inconsistencies that you refer to in AngloGold Ashanti? We have the statement.
So for instance, so when AngloGold says that they mobilize a task force, to come and ward off those young people. The impression we got from the Ghana Armed Forces is that they are stationed military people there.
Yes.
Taking charge of the facility.
So this is the AngloGold statement.
Okay. Yes. Listen, the authorities have confirmed that 7 illegal miners tragically lost their lives in this incident, and that a number of blah blah blah. The situation at the mine is currently calm and blah 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 blah. This is what I want.
There's nothing there for you, my brother.
Please, why, Nana?
What is the statement from AngloGold?
Yes, and there's nothing in there that's inconsistent.
Authorities mobilize. Second paragraph, second line. Authorities mobilize to defend against this attack
and to ensure the safety and security of employees and those in the immediate surrounds. This is from the AngloGold
I don't think you
mobilized
understood the sentence.
to defend against the attack.
It's the authorities mobilized.
Yeah. Mobilized.
Authorities mobilized to defend
How was it
against
done?
Attack. All right. So let's see the Ghana Armed Forces statement. We'll look at the Ghana Armed Forces statement as well. So let's. For the benefit
of what did you want them to
for the benefit of our viewers, okay. So
I'm
now
not
this is the
them for
hold on,
mobilizing.
Honorable, this is the
To
Armed
defend
Forces.
hold on,
This is the Armed Forces statement. This is a statement from the Armed
So where's
Forces,
the inconsistency?
right? So it says the military patrol deployed on Operation Halt duties at the mentioned locations were fired upon by the illegal miners when the soldiers tried to stop them from accessing the deep decline.
Stop there.
The illegal miners
Don't go further. Don't go further. Don't go further. Don't go further. So was it the case that a military patrol team, Operation Halt, was there or deployed there, or it was AngloGold that mobilized to defend their territory? This is the inconsistency I'm talking about.
How can this be inconsistent? They say that the army has just told you that they deployed. They will deploy. First of all, Operation Halt is obviously
all right.
Something
before
that's
I come
going
back
on
to the
there.
two of you,
Let
me bring in.
The army has people.
Let me bring in. Mobilized to defend their territory.
Let me bring in our next guest. He's joining us via Zoom. He's joining us via Zoom. Bright Bansa is joining us via Zoom. He's a PhD candidate in international conflict management at Kennesaw State University in Atlanta, Georgia. Bright, thank you very much for joining us here on GH Today this morning. We want to bring you into this conversation with regard to what's been happening at Obuasi. I'm pretty sure you followed how the discussion has been playing out between my guests here in the studio. What is your initial reaction to this entire situation, even before we get into the rest of the issues?
Yeah, thank you for having me. First of all, I would like to put on record that I am speaking on behalf of myself, and whatever I say does not represent my institution. Then now to the issues. I first of all want to extend my condolences to the affected persons or their bereaved families. It is rather an unfortunate situation. I wish there was a way to prevent it, but it has already happened. The other thing that is important to note about this conflict is that this is not the first time conflict like this is happening in Ghana. We have had it several times in a lot of mining communities, in Takwa, Obuasi, and just last week I think we had one in the Brong Ahafo region or Ahafo region. Regionally, these things have occurred a lot of times. South Africa, Tanzania, Burkina Faso. In 2019, 37 people were killed, were actually ambushed. And mining, those people were all, workers of a mining company. In South America, issues like this do happen. In the Australasian area or regions, we have witnessed, or literature has it, that conflicts like this do happen. But I think that the case of Ghana is a little bit different from what I have researched in other sources. Ours is purely based on economic factors that start, instigate, and then inflame these conflicts. Whereas in places like South America, these issues are started by cultural related issues. And so for me, I spoke to a sister station a couple of minutes ago, and I made them understand that this is not a point to start apportioning blames. This is the time to find a lasting solution to the problem, because mining has come to stay in Ghana. We have been mining in Ghana for several years, for more than 100 years. And these issues keep recurring. They keep coming up every year. And how long are we going to stay on the fence to see our people being killed?
All right. So moving forward, I mean, you talked about dealing, with the issue and finding solutions, because this is not the first time that we've seen this happen. Mining companies in the area, the people in the area feel as though they are not getting the full benefits for the mining company being there. And the mining company is mining, making money, paying royalties and what have you. And there is always a rift between the people and then the mining company, and it's something that keeps on happening. So from where you sit and in the work that you've done, and juxtaposing it to some of the other examples in other areas that you've given, what is the best way forward in dealing with this issue so that we do not continue to see them happen?
Well, this issue is not an event. You rightly said it. It is not an event. It is an issue that, should I say, that keeps occurring. It is not also caused by one factor. So we cannot say it is a monocausal issue. There are several factors that come together to cause this issue. So, for example, I spoke about economic factors. There are ecological factors. There are cultural factors, and so forth and so on. With this Obuasi one, I cannot propose a specific solution to it without having the details of the causes of the conflict. However, in other jurisdictions, in Southern America, in the Australasian areas or regions, they have implemented various strategies. In the case of Ghana, is it an issue of stakeholder engagement? If it is stakeholder engagement, how do we engage each other? If we are doing it well, because I know AngloGold is a big organization, they would definitely have a stakeholder engagement policy or framework. The community, have coexisted with Obuasi mine for a long time now. So there is that kind of mutual benefit that each derive from, one another. But going forward, what can we do to prevent this? And I am not looking, or my interest is not only with Obuasi, it is with the mining sector in general. Because if you solve that of Obuasi, if you find the problem of Obuasi and you solve it, how about what happened in Ahafo or Takwa or Bogoso or the other regions in the northern part of Ghana? So it is critical that going forward, we find a lasting solution, a framework that could be implemented for, the mining sector, not only for AngloGold. As a country, I think that it is about time we come together to form, should I say, a workable framework or policy in terms of conflict resolution for our mineral extraction sector, specifically mining. I have not seen anything like that.
Right.
The companies have them. They have them, but these are internal documents. So if you go to AngloGold, they have one, which is different from that of Newmont, which is different from that of maybe Ghana Manganese. But do we have one that highlights the critical areas of our mining sector and when there is an issue, how we resolve them?
All right.
So I think that going forward, this is where the discussion should be tilted towards.
Okay.
And the issue of blame game, I think, is not really going to solve the problem at this point in time. The most critical thing right now is to restore peace. And the government, I have seen a statement from the government instructing, I think, some ministry to investigate the matter and bring recommendation pots for implementation. I am ready to to contribute to that if the need be.
All right, very well. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on the show. Bright Banta is a PhD candidate in international conflict management at Kennesaw State University, and we'll have to begin to be wrapping up our discussions. Yes, Honorable Abdulaziz, there's a point you wanted to make.
Yes, so on the issue of President Mahama asking AngloGold to bear the cost of the medical expenses and to facilitate the burial, which Nana referred to as funeral expenses. My point on that is that, you see, it is just a way of assuaging the pain and the hurt of the people and beginning a work to let the two work together. Because whether we like it or not, AngloGold would continue to work in Obuasi. And so you must begin to see how you can make the two to work together in a seamless manner. While, like we said, they have a health facility in Obuasi. And so just to make the people in the town to feel that, look, something is being done about it. Yes, it is regrettable. And that AngloGold is trying to reach out to them, take their medical expenses. How would that hurt their finances? What would be the quantum in relation to the finances of AngloGold? And that would begin to be, if they facilitate their barrier, that would begin the process of some reconciliation of the two. And so if we don't understand how to mediate between two conflicting parties, you will not appreciate what President Mahama is doing. Why? The medical expenses for the state will not be anything. But you want to use that one as a pathway to reconstruct their relationship.
Right.
But if you don't understand how governance is done and how to mediate between two freedom factions, you won't appreciate this. That is the wisdom in President Mahama.
Okay. Now, Freddie, let me hear you finally on this.
Then he quickly whipped his neck to look at me. You have achieved nothing.
Then let me close my eyes.
And totally failed. This is not governance, as you claim it. It is not. It is a matter of principle and ethics. It is as simple as that. It has nothing to do with governance that you ask a company to take up the responsibility of the state. This is a responsibility of the state. Putting the community and the company together is not, this is not the approach to start it.
Pathway.
And here's my story.
Pathway.
How is it that suddenly we think that there's a problem between the community and the company? When the company is the one who's building a hospital, probably providing scholarships, setting up schools and all of that. How is that? Simply because some illegal miners have committed have been killed. And therefore, suddenly the company is a bad company.
No, but I said so.
How is that the case?
No, but I said so.
So, for me, if this is how you want to approach governance, that's fine. But I want you to understand that there's no. Did you hear what the PhD candidate said? You totally missed it.
What did he say?
Good.
What did he say?
Yes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said what you just said.
What did he say?
The problem on the table is way beyond Obuasi, way beyond all these other places. It requires a certain attitude and position.
So you only got to know that it goes beyond Obuasi when he spoke.
If you didn't hear it,
when you only got to hear
it, he said it for you to hear.
So
all the positions
got to know
taken,
hold on.
that the issue is beyond Obuasi.
When you tell him to hold on, he will not listen.
Of what he said. I knew that long ago.
But I think he's making reference to that.
I knew that long ago.
Yes, to your own point.
I knew that long ago.
You sat here just now and saying that you want to refer to something. This mining problem, it started more than decades ago. Decades ago.
Right.
So you somehow think that it will be politically sound and astute for you. You will benefit from behaving this manner in this way on a national matter of this nature.
How do you benefit?
That's how you do. That's how you are behaving.
How do you
benefit? The real issue on the table is that
telling
we
you to be
need a long-term
to people who lost their families.
So that look,
and show sympathy.
One of the policies that was implemented is the community mining system.
You should not be talking about illegal mining.
Which was supposed to help ameliorate this matter of the economics of it.
It became a conduit for government officials to engage in illegal mining.
What you want to do is look at all of that and see what should work and what would not be viable for us.
All right.
And then you proceed so that people will do the things that they have to do.
All right. Government officials to engage. I think the point has been made. All right.
I hear some rattling in the background. Is there something wrong in the studio?
We have to wrap it up now. But before we go though,
was only a conduit for you people to engage, your government to engage.
We understand that there was an invasion of your shop by some.
Yes, the NDC activists came there.
What happened?
Claiming that they want. They came claiming that they come to take over and that
take over your shop.
Yes, sure. And that is no my business and that
your business, your own.
Yes, and that
legitimate business.
As far as they are concerned, they are coming. And the people that are customers and clients to them, there's no way you do that. This place is private. They came. We have video footage in the NDC T-shirt. They came in 3 or 4 pickup trucks. Suddenly, they came.
This is new to me, but if
of course it will.
I'll condemn that.
They came in pickup trucks.
Yes, they came in pickup and cars.
To your shop.
I wasn't there.
In NDC.
Some of them were in it. When we close, I'll show you the video.
Nana will say that. But if that is true, I'll condemn that. I'll condemn that.
It's there.
No, but we've seen a number of these actions by youth of the NDC. All over the place.
They went and slapped some priests, Indian priests. You remember? You remember? They slapped some Indian priests under a pretext that they were smuggling things away on behalf of government. No. That's what they did.
You see,
they're not out. That's why I said that there should be a very serious.
If your experience.
Hold on. I'll come to you.
There should be a very serious attention. That's why I talked about the maturity of Ghana. We must mature past. These things have happened before. PDC, CDC days. It was happening, CDR days and things. Walk into somebody's office, take over, then some watchman thinks he should be on the board of the company and things like that. These are things that have happened before. We have graduated from there. So people cannot and should not be behaving like this Obuasi matter. Some of the footage that's going, you should see. There's a misunderstanding, and that is because of the utterances of people from government. It is a problem. At that time, they were party seeking to be in government. Now they are in government. And people are executing what they said. So we need that very hard, firm thing. Right. Deploy police. Tell them, go out there and stop this thing. Say it. Go out there
I think that has been said.
Has it been said in a manner that when I call the police, they are not responding?
I think it has been said. And the president has
said. To a microphone.
The president has said.
Lantam, has it been said in a manner that
makes
the police know?
What not matters the fact that it has been said.
How is that those who have been caught on film? We don't see any investigation.
And the police has arrested quite a number of them.
Really? Yes. And you've reported it?
Yes.
And you've seen what the follow through?
We know the police has made some arrests.
And you know that they've continued so that the public understands that that type of thing is illegal.
Okay.
It is all important. It is very crucial. I was talking to an NDC activist, and he tells me that somebody he knows to be legitimate, to be a legitimate public officer who hasn't retired, was attacked by these same NDC people. So the thing is getting out of hand. Let us not take it lightly and think that it is just a partisan political thing.
All right.
It is a fundamental thing that's hurting me. When they went, do you know, let me tell you, when they went there, they didn't even know that was my office. They just went there to try and take over. So when my name was mentioned, they didn't even know who I was. I'm being honest with you, so it doesn't look
those
like...
Those who came to your shop?
Yeah.
They didn't know it was your shop.
Weren't you targeted because they think it's an
they came there because they think that it is a government state office. I'm telling you. And this thing is...
because they think it's a state office.
I was trying to sympathize with you, but your story is becoming...
But you see, it tells you that it means that you, as far as you're concerned, this is a partisan matter. And I'm telling you,
you said they came to attack your shop.
If it were,
you have been targeted. Now they didn't know it was your shop.
I did not say that. Hey. He's the one who raised the matter. Did I bring it on the floor? He's the one who raised the matter. Yes, it's my business. I'm sure you mentioned it to him.
If you didn't mention it to him,
so it's your business. But they came.
He said he had
because they.
Are you all right?
Hold on.
Listen to what he's saying.
Hold on. Let's not personalize.
Oh, he already started.
Let's not do that.
He already started.
I can take it.
They came to your shop because they thought it was a state institution that they could come and take over. And then they realized that it was a private business.
How does a shop turns into a state institution?
You know what I'm saying? So, and why? Lantam, if there was a benefit to this comment I'm making, you think I'll tell you the details I've just given you? I have no benefit in trying to claim that I'm so popular that somebody will come chasing me. They didn't know who I was. Because if they knew when my name was mentioned, they would have reacted. They didn't, because they didn't know who I was. They came there on the pretext, and that is what's been going on all over the place, trying to take over all kinds of state institutions, and the raiding of warehouses. The recent one was last week Thursday. Raiding of warehouses, state warehouses, district assembly warehouses. That one to you say it doesn't matter. Not so.
I'll
speak
to it. I'll speak to it.
That's the problem.
I will speak to it.
That's why I'm saying that there must be a clear, strong statement. Otherwise, it won't continue.
All right.
So Lantam. Now, Nana is speaking as if NDC supporters are just in town attacking every shop outside.
Yes.
Because I
shops that they
how
institutions
institutions
and places that they believe belong to the government.
Yes. In some cases, and in other cases, they know the people and they intentionally go there.
A shop that they attack, thinking the shop is a state institution. I don't even know how a shop would look like a state institution.
I clarify that it's not a shop.
Now, you see,
it's a business that he runs, not a shop.
Please. Whether it's a shop, a business, office, or whatever. If that is true, I strongly would condemn that. That there has been pockets of such actions.
But it is true. I mean, it's true. It's fact. It happened.
Massa, I was not there. And I'm saying that if that is true, if his experience is anything to go by, I would strongly condemn that. I agree that there have been pockets of those actions around. Right? President Mahama has issued a statement loud and clear. I don't know how clear Nana wants it. Maybe want President Mahama to take a microphone and stand just at the gate of the Flagstaff House to announce. The man has issued a statement. He has instructed the police to arrest anybody involved in that and deal with them in accordance with law. What else do you want him to do? To go onto the street with a whip and start whipping people? No, that's not possible. Now, we are talking about, and you see, when Nana speaks as if this is the first time, we've seen worse things in this country. We've seen how a senior police officer, on the very day that Akufo-Addo assumed office at the Jubilee House, Nanka Bruce, was attacked and beaten, and his car seized by your party hoodlums. You've forgotten? We know how the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator was chased out of office and beaten. You've forgotten? We saw how a pregnant judge. Listen, we saw how a pregnant judge.
This is the maturity that I'm talking about.
Was chased out of office. A pregnant judge who was presiding over a case was chased out of the office. Those ones you have soon forgotten, and President Akufo-Addo was quite throughout. In this case, President Mahama has issued a directive that irrespective of who is involved, arrest them. We haven't seen the like of what happened in 2017. What's happening today cannot be compared in any shape or form to what we saw when you assumed power. And President Akufo-Addo then was quiet. And that's why President Mahama has condemned it. That's why I have condemned it.
You haven't.
But when they speak as if this is the first time,
you haven't condemned
and that what we are seeing today has never happened, I am telling you, and there's a plethora of examples I can give you, that even homes of former appointees were attacked. They were harassed. Their cars were seized in their homes. John DeMelo was driving in town. They seized his car. You've forgotten? Papanko, they virtually invaded, party boys invaded their homes. You guys are lucky that nobody has invaded your homes now, and you are complaining as if what we are seeing today has never happened. We are more decent.
But it doesn't make it
we
right,
are more decent. Never, it's never right. I will never call for such thing to be done. But I'm saying,
what you are saying says that you will.
Nothing wrong.
What you are saying says that you will do that. What you are saying says that you are encouraging
people's homes. Tormented them.
Nothing has changed.
Subjected them to trauma. They and their families.
And you are doing the exact same thing.
They and their families.
You are doing the exact same thing.
A senior police officer was beaten in broad daylight. The police that you are asking today to act, you beat them.
And it should continue.
That you are asking to act today, you beat them.
And it should continue.
A pregnant judge was chased out of her courtroom.
And it should continue. So that when now you are out of office in 2028, then MPP people should also come and do the same thing. That is immature.
And that
is the point I was making. That we have matured in this country. So certain things must not happen again.
You guys cannot give any advice on good governance.
Wrap it up here.
You can't give any advice on good governance.
Pretty surely we'll be going
to the very bottom
Parliament
of governance
to bring you proceedings of the appointments committee. They'll be beginning their sittings today. Governs Kwame Agboja will be the very first to be vetted. He is Minister Designate for Roads and Highways, and so we will be going. You can see clearly that, of course, that's the room where the appointment is going to happen. I mean, the appointments committee here in our sitting is going to happen, and so the vetting is going to take place there, and of course, people are setting up there, and so we'll wrap it up here. Nana Fredia, thank you very much for coming. Have you handed over as board chairman of the National Theatre?
On the day I was on our last board meeting, I was eager.
So you handed over?
Oh yeah, of course.
All boards of theatre institutions.
The directives from the President Akufo-Addo, from the laws of this country, do not allow you to hold on to anything that you're supposed to hand over. So the directives from the presidency on certain positions and things that are appropriate, because if somebody's still there, they need not to be there. In the case where, like Professor Tifa, who had resigned in November, and yet somehow there was an agency to make it look like...
It will interest you to know that some board chairpersons, before the instructions, were still forcing payments to be made. I know of one at DVLA.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, even though they know that Kenya had expired, that the president had handed over, they were forcing payments in millions of dollars.
And Mohammed Abdulaziz, thank you very much for coming. Nana Fredia Ajimaforiata, thank you very much for coming. We'll cross over and bring you proceedings of the appointments committee. But right before we do that, let's do a few birthday wishes. You are a hard-working colleague who always keeps us smiling and laughing in the office. May your light always shine in life, and may everything work together for your good. We love you in the newsroom, and this is a big happy birthday from all of us here to you, Nana Ama Ajibai, of our sports desk here at GHOne Television. Yes, Nana Ama Ajibai. Thank you very much for watching. Do stay tuned, because we will be crossing over and taking you live to Parliament to bring you the vetting of the nominees of John Mahama for the various ministerial positions. But thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I've been here with my co-host Lily Mohammed. We'll be back again tomorrow to bring you another edition of the show. My name is Lantam Papanko. Have a wonderful day.